Chapter 111. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? Yang Wu sneered in response. He then used his divine sense to speak to little He. Cooperate with me in killing that old man. I want to capture that girl alive. That girl has a close relationship with little man. Little He looked to Huangfu Mingyu and said to Yang Wu. This time, Yang Wu was stunned. He felt that Huangfu Mingyu and little man looked very similar, but he only felt that it was a coincidence. Now that he heard little He's words, he felt that it wasn't the case. Princess, wait for me to capture him. When the time comes, it won't be his turn to refuse. Huangfu Weiman spoke and rushed out like a tiger without waiting for Huangfu Mingyu's consent. Huangfu Weiman was much more ferocious than Hu Yindan. Just by looking at his imposing manner and speed, one could tell that he wasn't someone an ordinary barbarian general could compare to. Both of his arms were encircled with golden rings, and they were like iron arms. He ferociously attacked Yang Wu. The mystical chi from his 2 arms was like a surging flood dragon. It was extremely powerful and overbearing. Yang Wu didn't care about fairness with Huangfu Weiman. He raised the double-edged triple dragon spear and swung it. The dense spear shadows were much more powerful than before. Huangfu Weiman didn't dare to face the double-edged triple dragon spear head-on. He only used his mystical chi to collide. He wanted to overwhelm Yang Wu with absolute strength. Huangfu Weiman was half a step into the king realm and had the second layer of brute force. He wasn't someone an ordinary person could withstand. Yang Wu's attack was directly shattered by his arms. Yang Wu's attack was completely suppressed. Many of the barbarians cheered excitedly. Lord Weiman is really powerful. This brat will definitely be captured easily. If that great Xia commoner didn't have the advantage of the royal armament, how could he have such combat strength? Let's see how arrogant he can be after his royal armament is taken away. That's right, Prince Da and was only careless. If he had the royal armament, he could also kill this commoner. Yang Wu was indeed forced to retreat again and again. Huangfu Weiman's brute force was too great. Even if he used all his strength, he was still no match for Huangfu Weiman. Fortunately, he was still able to withstand the attacks. This was all because little He had tempered him to the extreme, causing his body's potential to increase tremendously. Whether it was his reaction speed or his endurance, he was not inferior to any general realm expert. The Dao Flower of Death in his God Court was activated. Unless he fully activated the Dao Flower of Death, he wouldn't be Huangfu Weiman's match. After holding on for so long, your hands are about to be crippled. Throw down the royal soldiers and submit to Princess Mingyu. Otherwise die. Huangfu Weiman shouted confidently. His arms were like flood dragons, flickering with golden, profound energy. Every time he swung his arms out, a long crack would appear on the ground, and many rocks would explode into smithereens. If it landed on a person's body, it was obvious what kind of scene it would be. When Yang Wu was forced into a corner by Huangfu Weiman crossed his arms. 2 streams of Xian Qi directly locked onto Yang Wu's double-edged 3-dragon spear, causing Yang Wu to be unable to use any strength. Huangfu Weiman laughed sinisterly and said, "Let go." Huangfu Weiman was naturally prepared when he attacked. His target was the royal armament in front of him. If he could seize it, it would be a great help for him to enter the king realm. However, at this moment, a little He suddenly moved on Yang Wu's shoulder. It directly pounced on Huangfu Weiman. Its speed was very fast. By the time Huangfu Weiman reacted, it had already grabbed his Xian armor. A little He dog wants to change the situation of the battle? Wishful thinking. Huangfu Weiman sneered. He continued to increase his strength to increase the pressure on Yang Wu. He completely ignored little He. However, little He's strength exceeded his expectations. His 4 layers of defensive Xian armor were directly shattered by little He's sharp claws. The sharp claws directly penetrated Huangfu Weiman's neck, causing him to feel a chill. He hurriedly grabbed little He with one hand, afraid that his neck would be scratched by this little He if he was a step slower. Now, Yang Wu's eyes darkened. The death Dao flower in the divine court swayed, and a dense will of death spread out, causing Huangfu Weiman's mind to be attacked. The power in his body showed a trace of sluggishness. Yang Wu seized the opportunity and stabbed the double-edged three-dragon spear with all his strength. Spurt. Huang Fu Weiman had never thought that the little hay dog on Yang Wu's shoulder would be so sharp, nor did he expect Yang Wu to possess the Tao of Death. He only reacted when Yang Wu's double-edged three-dragon spear pierced his lower abdomen. He did not grab Yang Wu's weapon. Instead, he swung his arm at Yang Wu with great malice. He actually wanted to take Yang Wu down with him. Yang Wu also did not expect his opponent to be so ruthless. He pulled out his spear and retreated without even thinking. Little Hay did not retreat. It had already taken advantage of Huang Fu Weiman's counterattack against Yang Wu to claw at Huang Fu Weiman's neck. Huang Fu Weiman wanted to stop it, but it was already too late. "Quick!" begged Lord Weiman. Huang Fu Mingyu realized that something had happened to Huang Fu Weiman and immediately ordered. Unfortunately, it was too late. Yang Wu took a step forward and swept the double-edged three-dragon spear across Huang Fu Weiman's waist, directly cutting him in half and killing him. This time, all the barbarians were completely dumbfounded. Everyone in their group knew that Huang Fu Weiman was the strongest, and he was also the one who had the highest chance of becoming a king in the past few years. He had actually been killed in front of everyone. Now, Huang Fu Mingyu finally realized how wrong her decision to capture Yang Wu alive had been, causing them to lose so many people, including Huang Fu Weiman. She lost her composure and shouted, "Kill him! Don't let him live! It's too late to think about killing me now." Yang Wu coldly replied. He finally released the Tao of Death, and all the barbarians near him were affected. Everyone's spirit seemed to have died, and they were greatly disturbed. It was as if they had completely lost their consciousness. In this short period of time, Yang Wu crazily attacked. The double-edged three-dragon spear and the iron blade swung left and right. Those barbarians were like puppets, and their lives were directly taken by him. Hu Yandan was already scared out of his wits when he saw the increasingly powerful Yang Wu. He immediately exclaimed, "Princess, let's go. Let's go quickly. This Xia bastard is a killing god. We can't stop him. I can't abandon my army. Kill him for me." Huang Fu Mingyu shouted with an extremely firm goal. When Hu Yandan saw Huang Fu Mingyu's insistence, he gritted his teeth and no longer cared about Huang Fu Mingyu. He rolled and crawled away. He was definitely a cowardly barbarian. Huang Fu Mingyu looked at Hu Yandan, who was running away. Her beautiful eyes flashed with disgust. However, at this time, Yang Wu had already killed a bloody path and quickly arrived a few meters away from her. She didn't sit still and wait for death. She pulled out her battle sword and pointed it at Yang Wu. She shouted, "Come, this princess is not afraid of you." Huang Fu Mingyu was also a genius girl who had awakened the second layer of brute force. If she was given more time, she might be able to awaken the third layer of brute force. Unfortunately, she met Yang Wu before that day came. Huang Fu Mingyu used all her strength as soon as she attacked. Her powerful brute force was not inferior to any man's. In fact, it was much stronger. The shadow of a brute elephant appeared in the light of her sword and rushed towards Yang Wu. Unfortunately, when Yang Wu glanced at her, she felt a sense of despair and death that made her feel extremely suffocated. Her body softened and fell to the ground. She couldn't summon any strength at all. It was as if she had already walked to the gates of hell. She only needed to take one step forward to hell. In the next moment, Yang Wu appeared in front of her. He knocked her out and carried her on his shoulder. Then, he quickly rushed towards the black steel bear to meet up with it. The remaining barbarians were in chaos. They all wanted to save Huang Fu Mingyu. However, Yang Wu's path of death was invincible at this moment. No one was able to pose any threat to him. Instead, he forcefully opened up a path of blood and met up with the black steel bear. He jumped onto its back and ran in one of the directions. "Damn dog of great Xia, quickly put down the princess." A barbarian general fearlessly chased after the bear with his people. Unfortunately, the wolf demons that were not completely dead continued to attack fiercely. They were not afraid of death at all and blocked the path of many barbarians. Only a small number of them chased after the bear. The black steel bear was a top-grade spirit demon that grew up in the forest. If it wanted to escape, how could the barbarians catch up with it? Not long after, the black steel bear left the barbarians far behind. In order to shake off the pursuers, Yang Wu said to the black steel bear, "I'll give you your freedom today. Whether or not you can escape depends on your ability." After he finished speaking, he carried Huangfu Mingyu and jumped onto a large tree. Then, he continued to jump onto the surrounding trees and did not run on the ground. The black steel bear was happy to be free. It ran wildly and helped Yang Wu lead the pursuers in other directions. After Yang Wu jumped on the tree for a while, he found a waterfall pool. He stopped nearby and said to Little Hay, "Little Hay, can you see if there's any danger around here?" Blackie's senses were even more astonishing than Yang Wu's. He looked around with his canine eyes and sniffed. "This damn place is surprisingly quiet. Instead, it makes this immortal emperor feel strange." Who cares? It's not like every place is filled with danger. There are always two peaceful places, right? Yang Wu said and carried Huangfu Mingyu towards the pool under the waterfall. Just as Yang Wu was about to reach the pool, Little Hay finally found some clues in front of the pool. It thought to itself, "So this is the old bastard's territory. No wonder it's so quiet here." Little Hay did not warn Yang Wu. Yang Wu did not know what it was planning. Yang Wu came to the edge of the pool and threw Huangfu Mingyu to the side. Then he took out the half-broken whip at his waist and tied Huangfu Mingyu up. He was prepared to recover his lost strength here. He originally wanted to go into the water, but he was afraid that there would be unknown water demons in the water. Thus, he stood on the shore and used the dragon turtle water suppression stance. He muttered, "Elder Sun said that I can fly when I encounter water. I don't know if that's true or not." While he was concentrating on his stance, Little Hay naturally set up a defensive spell to prevent the barbarians from finding him. In the depths of the pool, a huge shadow suddenly floated up slowly. Chapter 112. The dragon turtle water suppressing stance was not a combat skill, nor was it a footwork. It was just a stance technique of the dragon turtle's sea turning technique that allowed one to draw in air. It could borrow the water profound energy to continuously strengthen oneself and could display an extremely powerful combat strength. Yang Wu combined the dragon turtle water suppressing stance and the supreme 9 Mysteries mantra to absorb the Xian energy. This time, he was at the edge of the pool, so his absorption speed was even faster. Many water stains seeped into his feet and his skin, quickly gathering into his body and entering the peach core Dantian. The peach pit had already changed from the size of a small pond to a large lake, and the amount of energy it contained was extremely large. After a lot of profound qi converged, the 1,000 holes continuously spewed out clouds, and strands of incomparably pure energy nourished every part of Yang Wu's body, causing him to feel comfortable and calm. Yang Wu entered a state where he forgot everything. A large amount of water, Xian energy on the surface of the pool was absorbed, and behind him, there seemed to be a dragon turtle floating on the water. The black shadow that floated up from the pool became more and more obvious. However, the waterfall was upside down, and the water splashed everywhere, affecting its existence. Only Little Hay, who was hiding on a tree branch in the distance, could see it clearly. She stared coldly at the black shadow and thought to herself, "This old bastard better know his place, or I will definitely make him bleed." Before the black shadow had completely floated up, Huangfu Mingyu woke up first. "Let me go." Huangfu Mingyu found that she was tied up by a long whip and struggled to shout. She had lived a life of luxury since she was young. How could she have thought that she would become a captive one day? Yang Wu had already heard Huangfu Mingyu's words, but he pretended not to hear and continued to absorb the rich water, Xian energy here. He felt that he had a natural affinity with water, Xian energy, and in future battles, he would inevitably use water Xian energy as his main attack power. "Did you hear me? I told you to let me go. I am the princess of the imperial family. If you dare to harm me, not only you, but even your clan and the great Xia dynasty will face the situation of destruction." Huangfu Mingyu said sternly. Unfortunately, Yang Wu still ignored her, no matter how she called him. Yang Wu, who had been concentrating on absorbing qi, suddenly felt a foreign object floating in the pool. The other party had concealed itself so well that even his divine sense of the divine court realm could not discover its existence. Perhaps it was because of his dragon turtle water suppression stance that gave him an indescribable feeling. It was as if there was excitement, fear, intimacy, and fear. This was a very contradictory situation. Yang Wu did not bat an eyelid as he silently accumulated his strength. A lot of profound qi flowed through his entire body, causing his condition to reach its peak. When the black shadow in the pool appeared, he began to move. Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique. Yang Wu did not hold back at all. He drew out all the strength that he had accumulated with great difficulty just now and struck out with a force that was like the Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique. Waves of profound qi surged endlessly like the waves of the sea, wreaking havoc on the surface of the pool. The waterfall that rushed down seemed to be reversed, and the destructive power was extremely shocking. When Yang Wu struck out with this move, several more acupoints opened in his body. This was the reason why he had meditated to absorb and improve. The Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique was just taking the opportunity to vent it out and break through the acupoints at the same time. It was killing two birds with one stone. Huangfu Mingyu looked at Yang Wu, who had broken out with such a strong combat power. Her delicate mouth was wide open, and there was a bit of tenderness in her beautiful eyes. This kind of young man was the strongest warrior. Yang Wu was not as tall as the barbarians, but he was definitely not short for his age. His body was well-proportioned and slender, and he looked gentle but not masculine. He was much better looking than the big muscles of the barbarians. He was about the same age as Huangfu Mingyu, so it was not surprising that she liked him. After Yang Wu's move, he did not stop there. He struck out with the Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique several times in succession based on his feelings. Although the Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique had not reached the microscopic stage, Yang Wu's power was much stronger than before. As long as he entered the general realm, he might have a chance to reach the microscopic stage. The Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique was Yang Wu's trump card. He wanted to master it more and more, but he always felt that something was missing. He had never found that feeling. Now that there was a water source, he tried his best to practice it to see if he could make progress. At the same time, he attacked the unknown water demon. Yang Wu struck out with the sea turning technique 4 or 5 times in a row, and the power of the peach core was almost exhausted. Fortunately, the water qi here was rich, so he could quickly replenish his energy. He quickly retreated and grabbed Huangfu Mingyu. He did not dare to stay here any longer because he felt an extremely terrible sense of oppression. Splash! A curtain of water appeared at the bottom of the pool, and an old turtle demon appeared in front of Yang Wu. It was like a small hill, occupying almost the entire pool. Its turtle head was like a snake with tentacles, and its skin and flesh looked old. On its back was a turtle shell that was as black as ink. There were lines of rules on it, like a diagram of the 8 trigrams. As soon as it appeared, a majestic demon aura enveloped Yang Wu and Huangfu Mingyu, instantly suppressing them and immobilizing them. This was a spirit demon that had reached the king realm. Yang Wu stared at this turtle demon. It was very similar to the old turtle he saw when he obtained the Dragon Turtle Sea Turning Technique. The only difference was that its turtle head did not look like a dragon's, but other parts were really similar. I didn't expect to smell the human race as soon as I woke up. How nice! The turtle demon said faintly in human language. Immediately afterward, its turtle head swooped down on Yang Wu and Huangfu Mingyu. Its enormous mouth was like a black hole, capable of swallowing everything. I don't want to die, Huangfu Mingyu screamed, her face drained of color. Yang Wu was also so scared that his palms were sweating. He yelled, "Little Hay, what are you waiting for?" Right now, he could only rely on Little Hay. Even if he had a king weapon, he could not challenge this turtle demon. This was definitely a terrifying demon king, or perhaps even more powerful. Yang Wu's shouts didn't seem to have any effect. Blackie didn't appear as he wished. Seeing that the demon tortoise's mouth was about to reach his head, Yang Wu frantically circulated the supreme 9 mysteries formula and the dragon tortoise water suppressing stance. The primal mystic essence qi in his body erupted again, triggering the death Dao flower bud. He broke free from the demon tortoise's pressure and unleashed the dragon tortoise sea turning technique at the demon tortoise again. You want to kill me? It's not that easy. Yang Wu's body burst with a true, unyielding will. His flower of the heavenly court exuded a formless power, causing his spiritual level to rise significantly. It was precisely because of this that he had the courage and strength to look directly at the turtle demon. Unfortunately, his cultivation level was far too low. Before he could attack, the turtle demon had already spat out a wave of water, sending him and Huangfu Mingyu rolling for an unknown distance. Even several dozen trees in that direction were swept away by the wave. Yang Wu and Huangfu Mingyu were completely drenched. Huangfu Mingyu could not withstand the impact and directly fainted. Yang Wu's situation was slightly better. Apart from feeling like his body was about to fall apart, everything else was fine. Old bastard, I advise you not to move. Otherwise, I don't mind steaming you like this. At some point, Little Hay had appeared on the turtle demon's shell. Her tiny claws actually broke through the extremely tough shell, causing the old turtle to feel a heavy pressure. This pressure did not come from her cultivation level, nor did it come from her bloodline origin. Instead, it came from an unparalleled demonic aura, causing the old turtle to not dare to casually resist. This old turtle was not a demon king. It was an existence even more powerful than a demon king. Its shell would not be damaged even by a casual attack from a king weapon. However, Little Hay's claws were able to break through it. From this, one could imagine just how powerful Little Hay's trump card was. The old turtle did not dare act rashly. Instead, it begged for mercy. Lord Immortal Emperor, if you have something to say, we can talk it out. Although that was what it said, in reality, its tail was like a long whip as it lashed heavily at Little Hay. This whip was incredibly fast. Even a king tier would not be able to clearly see how fast it was moving. However, Little Hay could sense it. Without even thinking, she jumped up and dodged the old turtle's whip. At the same time, she roared angrily, "Woof! Woof! You're courting death!" Lao He was completely enraged. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of true fire, burning towards the old turtle's back. Roar! The old turtle let out a blood-curdling scream. Its body flipped over, and the water in the pool splashed everywhere. When all the spirit demons nearby heard this terrifying sound and sensed the terrifying demonic aura that permeated the area, they were so frightened that they all crawled into their holes, not daring to even breathe loudly. The old turtle sank to the bottom of the pool, wanting to use the water to extinguish the fire on its shell. Unfortunately, the fire was very mysterious. Even though it was submerged in the water, it did not extinguish. It continued to burn the turtle's shell and even spread to other parts of its body. If this continued, the fire would burn alive. Damn it! This is a spirit fire seed. The old turtle cursed loudly. It had already become incomparably panicked. It had no choice but to quickly float up and cry out to Little Hay, "Lord Immortal Emperor, please spare my life. Lord Immortal Emperor, please spare my life." The old turtle had cultivated for 1,000 years, and it had not been easy for it to reach its current level of cultivation. It did not want to die. It had no choice but to put down its dignity and beg Little Hay for mercy. The old turtle's body was incomparably huge, while Little Hay was so tiny. The difference between the two was huge, but the old turtle had to beg the latter for mercy. The scene was truly bizarre. Little Hay was not in a hurry to let the old turtle go. Instead, she glared at the old turtle and snorted coldly. "Do you still dare to be arrogant in front of this immortal emperor?" "I don't dare anymore. I don't dare anymore. Hurry up and take back the spirit fire. This old turtle can't take it anymore." Roar! The old turtle cried out, trembling. At this moment, Little Hay opened her mouth and took back the flame. Half of the old turtle's hard shell had already been burned, revealing the turtle meat inside. It looked very pitiful. It really wanted to cry, but no tears came out. It had originally thought that it had hunted for some food, but it did not expect to get into big trouble. The old turtle did not dare to stay any longer. It wanted to dive back into the water, but when it heard Little Hay's words, it quickly stopped and did not dare to move recklessly. "If you dare to escape, I will burn down your nest," Little Hay threatened. "Lord Immortal Emperor, please forgive me. Please let me go," the old turtle begged. Chapter 113. Yang Wu lay on the ground and watched as Little Hay subdued the old tortoise. He instantly calmed down. He circulated his energy to recover his body that was about to collapse. After a long while, he finally recovered. After crawling up, he first went to check on Huangfu Mingyu. He discovered that the princess had fainted again, and her body was completely drenched. Her graceful figure was unmistakable. Yang Wu's lust instantly surged, but he forcefully suppressed it and did not do anything evil. Yang Wu was not a good person, but he did not think of himself as a bad person either. He had his own principles. Even if he wanted to give Huangfu Mingyu a quick death, he would not take advantage of her when she was in danger. Now that Little Hay was riding on the old tortoise's back, the old tortoise was completely obedient. Little Hay called out to Yang Wu, "Brat, hurry up and come over here." Yang Wu circulated his celestial energy and absorbed all the water in his body. Then he strode over to Little Hay and the old tortoise. Yang Wu once again looked at the old tortoise up close. He did not feel that it was as ferocious as before. Instead, it looked more like an old tortoise. Its eyes flickered, and its movements were timid. It was very comical. This was its nature. When it encountered an enemy that it was afraid of, it would first retreat into its shell to protect itself. However, this time, even its shell could not protect it. It was helpless. "Little Hay, you're really something." Yang Wu gave Little Hay a thumbs up. Little Hay said proudly, "How many times have I told you to call me Lord Immortal Emperor?" After a pause, it said, "That battle technique of yours requires this old tortoise's blood essence to be able to unleash its true power. I'll get this old tortoise to give you some blood essence, and, at the same time, help you temper your body a second time." Is that really possible?" Yang Wu said in shock. He had never thought of absorbing the demon tortoise's blood essence to cultivate a battle technique. "Nonsense. This is the best way to cultivate," Little Hay said with certainty. Then it said to the old tortoise, "Old tortoise, give me some pure blood, and I'll spare your life." "Yes, Lord Immortal Emperor," the old tortoise obediently replied. Immediately afterward, it hurriedly spat out a drop of blood essence. It was about the size of a thumb, and it exuded an extremely dense, demonic aura. Yang Wu could feel the immense power contained within this demonic aura. Are you trying to trick this celestial emperor with such a small amount of blood? Do you believe that I won't kill you right now, roast you, and eat you?" Blackie said domineeringly. The old tortoise trembled and hurriedly spat out another mouthful of blood. This time, it was the size of a human head. It felt sorry for itself. How many years would it take to recover such a large drop of blood essence? Little Hay did not directly give the blood essence to the old tortoise. Instead, it put it away for Yang Wu. Then it said to Yang Wu, "Cultivate here for the next few days. I have to collect some old herbs and refine some healing pills. Otherwise, your recovery speed won't be enough." Then it said to the old tortoise, "Old tortoise, your bloodline is really weak. You can't even touch a bit of dragon chi. How embarrassing. Hurry up and go to your nest and bring some good stuff for this Lord Immortal." The old tortoise hurriedly said, "Yes, Lord Immortal Emperor." After Little Hay jumped down from the old tortoise's body, the old tortoise hurriedly dived into the pool. Its speed was so fast that it left people speechless. Yang Wu said, "Little Hay, why don't you just bring me to look for herbs? Let me understand all kinds of herbs. Who knows, maybe I can refine pills myself in the future." "Forget it. Your aptitude is too ordinary. You can't do something as high-end as refining pills, little Hay said directly, not giving Yongwu any face. After saying that, it ignored Yongwu and dived into the nearby bushes to look for herbs. Yongwu smiled bitterly. Then, he went to wake Huangfu Mingyu up. He wanted to know if the skinny monkey was alive or dead. Yongwu fed Huangfu Mingyu a healing pill. After her injuries were healed, he shook her awake. When Huangfu Mingyu saw Yongwu, she asked weakly, "What do you want to do to me? Is Sundo alive or dead?" Yongwu stared at Huangfu Mingyu and asked, "He's not dead yet." Huangfu Mingyu replied honestly. Yongwu felt as if a heavy stone had been lifted from his heart. He then asked, "Where is he?" He couldn't understand why the skinny monkey wasn't killed. The skinny monkey was just a small warrior. He had no value at all. "Of course he's with us. I advise you to let me go quickly. Maybe I can let him live," Huangfu Mingyu said calmly. "You better not be lying to me. Otherwise, you'll be buried with my brother," Yongwu said with a fierce expression. He tore off the clothes on Huangfu Mingyu's shoulders, revealing her tender skin. Huangfu Mingyu was so scared that she screamed, "What are you doing? What do you think I'm doing?" Yongwu said with an evil smile. Aren't you afraid that the two countries will go to war?" Huangfu Mingyu said nervously. "So what? I only care about my brother's life or death. Answer me again. Is my brother dead or alive? If you dare to lie to me, you know the consequences." Yongwu lifted Huangfu Mingyu's chin and shouted, "I really don't know what the consequences are." Huangfu Mingyu looked at the handsome and resolute face in front of her. She blinked her beautiful eyes and licked her lips. She said in an extremely sexy manner. The barbarians were passionate and unrestrained. They were also the same with love. They were not like the ordinary people. Huangfu Mingyu took a fancy to Yongwu. Therefore, she was not afraid that he would do something inappropriate to her. She even had a trace of desire. "You really don't know?" Yongwu said coldly. He tore off the clothes on Huangfu Mingyu's shoulders. A small part of the clothes was torn, revealing a soft armor that was suffused with a bright light. However, this soft armor could not cover the white part of her chest, causing Yongwu's blood to soar. It had to be said that not all barbarian women were as thick as an ox and unbearably ugly. At the very least, for a princess like Huangfu Mingyu, whether it was her appearance or her figure, she was definitely of the highest quality. Huangfu Mingyu felt Yongwu's rapid breathing. She was also slightly nervous, but more than that, she was excited. Her eyelashes were trembling, her jade lips were opening and closing, and her breath was like orchids. This appearance of wanting to reject, but also wanting to welcome, was truly charming. The more Yongwu looked at Huangfu Mingyu, the more he felt that she and the little man were sisters. In the end, he suppressed the fire in his body and put her on the ground. He turned his head and wiped the blood from his nose. He secretly scolded himself. "I really can't resist temptation. This is not this Viscount style. Let me go. I promise to send your brother back." Huangfu Mingyu was slightly disappointed. However, she appreciated Yongwu more for not taking advantage of her. Otherwise, she would be even more disappointed. "He really didn't die?" Yongwu asked with his back facing Huangfu Mingyu. "He didn't die," Huangfu Mingyu said with a trace of uncertainty. Then, Yongwu turned around and once again approached Huangfu Mingyu. Moreover, he began to search her body. She was so scared that she screamed, "What are you doing?" Yongwu ignored Huangfu Mingyu. In the end, he found a jade pendant in her private area. He rudely tore it off and said, "I'll send someone to deliver a message to your clansmen. You can trade for my brother's life." Huangfu Mingyu was relieved. She puzzledly asked, "Your brother is more valuable than me? Why don't you escort me back to the Xia? Perhaps you can get a great merit." Yongwu refused to answer her stupid question. At this moment, a few large eagles and goshawks suddenly flew by. Huangfu Mingyu immediately shouted to the sky, "This princess is here." "Not good." Yongwu cried out involuntarily. He carried Huangfu Mingyu and hid under a big tree to hide. He also covered Huangfu Mingyu's mouth tightly, not giving her the slightest chance to make a sound. Fortunately, Lil Hay had already set up a formation in the vicinity to isolate them from the winged cavalry's patrol. Otherwise, their whereabouts would have been exposed. After the winged cavalry left, Yang Wu heaved a sigh of relief. He then pushed Huangfu Mingyu to the ground and shouted, "If you dare to scream again, I will kill you." After coming into contact with Yang Wu's murderous gaze, Huangfu Mingyu finally revealed a trace of fear. Yang Wu realized that the barbarians would definitely frantically search for Huangfu Mingyu's whereabouts. He could only pin his hopes on Little Hay and hope that it would come back soon. When the time came, the old turtle would be obedient and he wouldn't have to fear the barbarians. For the past 2 days, Yang Wu had been staying with Huangfu Mingyu. Other than meditating and practicing, he didn't dare to move around casually. The acupoints in his body had already been opened to 357 acupoints. He was only 1 step away from opening 365 acupoints. As long as he opened 365 acupoints, all the major acupoints in the human body would be connected. He would be able to condense the Xian armor and become a true general. Previously, Yang Wu had already condensed the Xian armor. However, it didn't mean that he was already a general. At this point, Yang Wu really wanted to forcefully break through to the general realm. This was because he had already sensed that no less than 5 groups of barbarians had passed by in the vicinity. He didn't doubt that the barbarians would send out their barbarian kings to search for Huangfu Mingyu's whereabouts. Because of this, Yang Wu urgently wanted to improve his strength. Once he entered the general realm, he was confident that he could kill all opponents below the king realm. Even if he had to take the head of an army of thousands, it would be as easy as taking something out of his pocket. Fortunately, Yang Wu suppressed this impulse. He had to wait for Little Hay to come back. He wanted to use Little Hay's extreme refining of medicinal liquid to break through in one fell swoop. On the 3rd day, Little Hay still hadn't come back. Finally, a barbarian king arrived. Shi Shafeng unfurled a pair of yellow Xian wings and appeared in the air. His eyes were like lightning, constantly searching for every blade of grass and tree in the vicinity. Yang Wu recognized Shi Shafeng. He hid under a large tree and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Meanwhile, Huangfu Mingyu's mouth had already been gagged by Yang Wu, so she couldn't make any sound. Unfortunately, Yang Wu still underestimated the searching ability of a King Realm expert. Shi Shafeng still managed to see through the illusory formation that Little Hay had set up. He slammed his palm into the mountain rock near Yang Wu. Bang! A deep pit that was several feet wide suddenly appeared. Sand and rocks flew everywhere. The illusory formation completely disappeared. Nothing could escape Shi Shafeng's senses. Oh no! Yang Wu's expression changed greatly. He shouted in his heart. Chapter 114. Shi Shafeng was one of the 10 kings of the barbarian race and the first general of the barbarian race who guarded the border. He personally went to find Huangfu Mingyu, which showed how much importance the barbarian race attached to Huangfu Mingyu. It was not that Shi Shafeng could see through Little Hay's illusion formation, but that Yang Wu had Huangfu Mingyu's jade tablet. He could find Huangfu Mingyu's location with a secret method. However, when he came here and did not find Huangfu Mingyu, he thought that there must be a formation nearby or some other shielding means. Sure enough, when he blasted out, he found that everything below suddenly became clear. He sensed the princess's aura. Yang Wu grabbed Huangfu Mingyu without thinking. The gap between him and a king was too big. If Old Tortoise did not appear, he would definitely die. He had no choice but to take Huangfu Mingyu as a hostage. Shi Shafeng flew down, and his Xian quietly disappeared. He glared at Yang Wu. His murderous eyes were extremely terrifying, making Yang Wu feel as if he had been electrocuted. He almost lost control of his body. Fortunately, he had faced Old Tortoise's oppression before and had already condensed a king's momentum. He could barely withstand this pressure and did not let go of Huangfu Mingyu. If other martial artists in the general realm were here, they would have already collapsed to the ground. If you come any closer, I will kill her. Yang Wu gritted his teeth and glared at Shi Shafeng. Princess, you have suffered. Sure Shafeng ignored Yang Wu's gaze and looked at Huang Fu Mingyu. He bowed slightly and said. Then he raised one hand and grabbed in the direction of Yang Wu and Huang Fu Mingyu. With a casual stretch of his hand, Yang Wu and Huang Fu Mingyu rushed towards Sure Shafeng. Yang Wu could not hurt Huang Fu Mingyu. His body was bound by an invisible force, and he could not move at all. Old Tortoise, when are you going to save me? Yang Wu had no choice but to ask Old Tortoise in the pool for help. He did not know whether Old Tortoise could hear him or not. Today, even the King of Heaven can't save you, Sure Shafeng said with a strong, murderous aura. The princess being captured was the greatest insult to him. If this matter were to be spread to the royal family, he would definitely be punished. He had to tear the brat in front of him into pieces to vent his anger. At this moment, the tortoise suddenly, Old Tortoise appeared on the surface of the pool, and majestic pressure swept toward Sure Shafeng. Sure Shafeng was shocked. Shafeng had no mind to kill Yang. He wanted to grab Huang Fu Mingyu and had to escape to escape. He to escape was Tortoise's had to escape, and was to escape escapist. However, Old Tortoise wouldn't give him such an opportunity. It raised its claw and launched a claw attack towards Sure Shafeng's back. 2s2s was caught Mingyu's. His was. Sure Shafeng screamed miserably. This was the first time he had been injured so badly in so many years. He felt the threat of death. Huang Fu Mingyu was so anxious that her beautiful eyes were tearing up. She kept struggling, hoping that Yang Wu would let Sure Shafeng go. Yang Wu also wanted Sure Shafeng to die, but when he thought about Shouho's safety, he immediately said, Old Tortoise, don't kill him. Old Tortoise was very obedient. It did not kill Sure Shafeng. Sure Shafeng, on the other hand, was scared out of his wits. He was a high-level barbarian king, and even if he encountered a top-notch king of the Great Xia, he would not be afraid. However, this old tortoise had subdued him with just one move. Even if he licked his toes, he could tell how terrifying this old demon was. Listen up, bring my brother Sun Do here immediately. If he dies, she will be buried with him. Yang Wu shouted at Sure Shafeng. At this moment, he was really confident. Old Tortoise was strong enough to deal with a king. What else did he have to be afraid of? Yang Wu removed the cloth from Huang Fu Mingyu's mouth, giving Huang Fu Mingyu a chance to speak. General Sure, listen to him and bring that person here, Huang Fu Mingyu said bitterly. Originally, she thought that with Sure Shafeng's arrival, she would be able to escape safely. Who would have thought that Sure Shafeng would be captured in an instant? What made her even more confused was why the old turtle would listen to Yang Wu's orders. She realized that Yang Wu was even more mysterious. In her mind, he was the best candidate for her husband. She sighed in her heart. Unfortunately, he is from Great Xia. Yes, Your Highness, Sure Shafeng replied honestly. Just as Yang Wu was about to ask Old Tortoise to release Sure Shafeng, Little Hay appeared out of nowhere. She quickly landed on Yang Wu's shoulder and said, Since you've already caught him, why don't you take everything from him? Old Tortoise, take his things out for me. Yes, Sir Celestial Emperor. Old Tortoise shouted and began to strip everything off Sure Shafeng's body. In an instant, everything on Sure Shafeng's body was stripped off, including his clothes. His king's body appeared naked in front of her eyes. Huang Fu Mingyu was so scared that she quickly closed her eyes and turned her head away. Sure Shafeng felt an unprecedented humiliation, and his face burned uncomfortably. How many years had it been since he had experienced this kind of life and death being controlled by others? He cursed in his heart. I will definitely have my revenge. Tell him to scram. Yang Wu waved his hand and said, Don't worry, he has a heaven and earth bracelet on his arm. Take it off as well. Little Hay replied. Old Tortoise hurriedly took off an inconspicuous silver bracelet from Sure Shafeng's arm. No, Sure Shafeng was really anxious this time. That was his life's most precious savings. Unfortunately, no matter how much he cried, Old Tortoise had already sent it to Yang Wu. It no longer belonged to him. Look at how anxious he is. There must be a lot of good stuff in there. Yang Wu said excitedly. Little man king, what good stuff could there be? Tell him to scram. Little Hay said indifferently. Remember to bring my brother's son, Do, to me within a day. Otherwise, not only will I kill him, but I will also take revenge on the barbarians. Yang Wu threatened. After Yang Wu finished speaking, Old Tortoise waved its claw and threw Sure Shafeng far away. Yang Wu immediately went to pick up the loot. Other than a set of shattered armor and clothes, there was also the king's weapon, Falling Sky Hammer, and a heaven and earth bracelet that Sure Shafeng had used to make his name. The Falling Sky Hammer weighed 3,330 jin. It would be difficult for an ordinary warrior to carry it, let alone use it well. However, in the hands of a king, it was no different from an ordinary weapon. Yang Wu was not interested in the Falling Sky Hammer. He directly threw it to Little Hay and told her to keep it for now. He might be able to sell it for a large sum of money in the future. In the future, if he wanted to revive the Yang family, it would be impossible without some money. After that, he took the heaven and earth bracelet and carefully examined it. He discovered that there was nothing special about this heaven and earth bracelet. It looked just like an ordinary silver bracelet. Aside from the fact that its surface was a little smooth, there were no engravings at all. If Little Hay had not said that it was an item that stored the universe, he really would not have paid it any attention. How do I use this? Yang Wu asked Little Hay. Try using your divine sense to probe it, Little Hay said. Yang Wu did as he was told. However, there was no reaction. He spread his hands towards Little Hay. Little Hay said, "It looks like that guy isn't dead. There's no way for this heaven and earth bracelet to change owners. However, this is not a problem for this celestial emperor." Immediately after, Little Hay used her powerful divine sense to attack the heaven and earth bracelet. The restrictions on the heaven and earth bracelet were completely unable to stop Little Hay's powerful attack. The restrictions on the heaven and earth bracelet instantly collapsed. "It's done. Try again," Little Hay said again. Yang Wu tried again. This time, his divine sense entered the heaven and earth bracelet with much smoothness. He discovered that the space within the heaven and earth bracelet was only about the size of a square meter. The items that could be stored within were extremely limited. However, the items inside did not disappoint Yang Wu. He exclaimed excitedly, "The quality of this half a square meter of Xian Spirit Stone seems to be much higher than the Xian Spirit Stones that I absorbed before. There's also a bunch of spirit pills and miraculous medicines. It's really not interesting." Little Hay rolled her eyes in disdain. Yes. Since you don't like these things, they're all mine," Yang Wu said happily. "There are a few stocks of spirit medicine there. They can all be used to temper your body. They can also be used to refine some healing and qi recovery pills. It's a waste for you to take them," Little Hay said. Then, she used her divine sense to collect all the spirit medicine. Yang Wu didn't mind. He believed everything that Little Hay said. Afterward, he also discovered some gold and silver treasures. There were a few precious elephant tusks, a king-tier shield, and a sealing pearl. Elephant tusks could be used to refine weapons. Only king-tier elephant tusks could be collected by high-tier king-tiers. The king-tier shield had some history. It was something that the imperial family had rewarded Sure Shafeng after he had broken through to the king-tier. It had a special meaning. As for the sealing pearl, its value was probably the highest. Perhaps there was some kind of ultimate Xian technique sealed within it. In the past, Yang Wu had obtained the dragon turtle overturning the sky technique from the sealing pearl. Yang Wu didn't immediately use these items. He prepared to put the heaven and earth bracelet on his arm. However, after thinking for a moment, he tossed it into the heaven and earth bracelet within his body to avoid losing it. It's best to drip a drop of blood on this low-tier heaven and earth bracelet to make it recognize you as its master. Normally speaking, as long as the master doesn't die, others won't be able to obtain the items within it even if they obtain it. However, if one's divine sense is powerful enough, they will be able to break through all restrictions. Little Hay said. Yang Wu understood that Little Hay was saying all of this for him to hear. He made a mental note of it. In the future, if he had the opportunity to give the heaven and earth bracelet to someone else, he would know what to do. Little Hay then said, "This girl has the same bloodline as Little Man. The two of them might be sisters. Yang Wu's expression instantly changed. He had always been suspicious of the relationship between Huangfu Mingyu and Little Man. He had thought that it might just be a coincidence that they looked the same. However, now that Little Hay said it with such certainty, he knew that it couldn't be a lie. Fortunately, Huangfu Mingyu couldn't hear Little Hay's words. Otherwise, she would definitely be extremely shocked if Yang Wu and Little Hay conversed. This matter is really complicated, Yang Wu said with a soft sigh. Half a day later, Shafeng finally returned. However, he didn't just bring Shouho with him. He had even brought Huangfu Taigen with him. Chapter 115. Yang Wu clenched his fists tightly and looked at Shafeng and Huangfu Taigen, who were flying over. He prayed in his heart, "Skinny Monkey, please be fine." Yang Wu had only met Skinny Monkey in the prison, and Skinny Monkey had always helped him. He had long regarded Skinny Monkey as a brother. Now that his brother was in trouble, he naturally couldn't leave him to die. This was a true friend in need. Yang Wu was the same as Skinny Monkey. They were both men who were loyal. Shafeng and Huangfu Taigen put away their Xian wings and slowly descended. Shafeng already had an extra set of robes on his body, and there wasn't any strange expression on his face. However, when he recalled the scene when he returned to the army and was seen by those deputy generals, he still felt a burning sensation on his face, making him feel uncomfortable. Huangfu Taigen's eyes were all on Huangfu Mingyu. When he saw that Huangfu Mingyu was fine, he was relieved. However, he knew that this was just the beginning. The brat they brought back had already become an idiot. He didn't know if they were willing to change people. "We've brought the person. Please let go of Her Highness." Shafeng said calmly to Yang Wu. "Let the person here and let me see," Yang Wu replied. He could already see that Skinny Monkey's situation wasn't good. His heart had already sunk to the bottom. Shafeng cast his gaze on Huangfu Taigen. Huangfu Taigen nodded slightly and said, "Give the person to him." Huangfu Taigen had heard that there was a terrifying demon turtle in the pool. It should be in existence above the king's realm. No matter how many people they had, they couldn't save Huangfu Mingyu. In order to ensure Huangfu Mingyu's safety, they had to listen to Yang Wu's words. Shafeng skillfully sent Skinny Monkey to Yang Wu's side. Yang Wu hugged Skinny Monkey and called out, "Skinny Monkey, wake up. Skinny Monkey, I'm your big brother. Wake up." Yang Wu called out a few times, but unfortunately, Skinny Monkey did not respond. Furthermore, there were no wounds on his body. However, he had lost a lot of weight, leaving only a layer of skin and bones. He looked even worse than before. Yang Wu hurriedly probed his nostrils and found that he was still breathing. He calmed down a little and then said coldly to Shafeng and Huangfu Taigen, "You cripple my brother. I will not forgive you. Old Turtle, come out." Yang Wu and the Skinny Monkey were brothers who had gone through thick and thin together. It was a pity that the Skinny Monkey didn't have the time to accompany him to enjoy life together before he became like this. The old turtle rushed out of the pool. Its huge body pressed down on Shafeng and Huangfu Taigen's backs, making them seem insignificant. "Little brother, let's talk things over. We're willing to compensate you," Huangfu Taigen quickly said. "What's there to compensate? Only death awaits you," Yang Wu yelled angrily. The old turtle's claws were already swiping down. A powerful demonic aura enveloped Shafeng and Huangfu Taigen, binding them within. It only needed to exert a little strength to claw them into a pool of blood. "Young man, don't be so impulsive," Huangfu Taigen said faintly. At some point in time, an elephant bone plate had appeared in his hand. A smear of blood fell on the elephant bone plate. Suddenly, a powerful aura swept out and resisted the old tortoise's pressure. It was the shadow of a powerful barbarian. It seemed to have come from ancient times. Its tall and mighty body was indomitable, and its powerful brute force enveloped the surroundings. Its eyes were like lightning, making it seem unusually domineering. "Greetings, barbarian ancestor," Shafeng called out respectfully. Huangfu Mingyu felt the resonance of their bloodline. She also called out together, "Greetings, barbarian ancestor." It was Yang Wu's first time seeing such a formation. He did not expect the other party to have such a backup plan. "Umph. What's the use of a mere remnant image? Destroy it for me." Little Hayes snorted coldly. The old turtle shrieked and finally used its true strength. Its powerful turtle claws seemed to be able to tear the world apart. It wanted to tear the barbarian ancestor's remnant image apart. Huang Fu Taiging knew very well that his barbarian ancestor's remnant image would not be able to hold on for long. He immediately rushed towards Huang Fu Mingyu. Saving her was more important. At the same time, he shouted, "Young man, let's talk things over. As long as you let the princess go, we're willing to pay any price. Please let 8th grandfather and General Shi go." Huang Fu Mingyu also pleaded. Yang Wu was extremely cold. He did not care at all. The skinny monkey must have been tampered with. Perhaps he would be like this for the rest of his life. He could not take this lying down. Back then, it was because the skinny monkey was willing to stay behind that he and Li Dazue had a chance to live. Otherwise, they might have been captured as well. Therefore, he had to avenge the skinny monkey. The old turtle's attack was ferocious and overbearing, but the barbarian ancestor created by Huang Fu Taigeng could barely withstand it. Unfortunately, the barbarian ancestor's remnant image was too weak. It could not even unleash 1/10,000th of the barbarian's combat strength. Huang Fu Taigeng would probably be destroyed in a few rounds. As for Shi Shafeng, he could not move at all. The old turtle's other claw was holding him in place. He was already covered in blood. His injuries were many times worse than before. "Let 8th grandfather and the others go. I'm willing to pay with my life for them." Huang Fu Mingyu made up her mind and pleaded sadly. Huang Fu Taigeng had doted on her the most since she was young. She could not bear to see Huang Fu Taigeng die in front of her. Yang Wu was indifferent, but Little Hayes said from the side, "You won't get much out of killing them. Besides, they might be little man's relatives. Give them their worthless lives, and let them give us more good things in exchange. I can save that kid." "Can the skinny monkey really be saved?" Yang Wu asked excitedly. "As long as his soul is not destroyed, he can be saved," Little Hayes said with extreme confidence in her canine eyes. Yang Wu hesitated for a moment, then called out, "Old turtle, stop first." The old turtle immediately stopped and replied to Yang Wu, "Give me a little more time. I can destroy this remnant image." Huang Fu Taigeng was already panting, and his old face was even uglier. He quickly said to Yang Wu, "We can give you whatever compensation you want." "That's what you said." Yang Wu responded indifferently. Then he turned his gaze and said, "This is your princess life, as well as the lives of your 2 kings and my brother's life. You can decide how much compensation is appropriate for me. If you don't show some sincerity, I guarantee that none of you will be able to leave here." After hearing Yang Wu's words, Shi Shafeng's face twitched. Some of his precious savings had just been stripped clean by Yang Wu. Now it was Huang Fu Taigeng's turn. He seemed to feel a little more balanced in his heart. Huang Fu Taigeng was decisive. He replied, "No problem. I can promise you that we won't be at war with the Great Xiao army for 10 years. Both sides can coexist peacefully. In addition, I will give you 10 million gold coins, 10,000 pieces of low-grade black spirit stones, 50 stalks of spiritual medicine, and 1,000 stalks of old medicine." It had to be said that Huang Fu Taigeng was very sincere. He took out a considerable amount of wealth, and Yang Wu felt a rush of excitement when he heard this. "To dismiss a beggar," Little Hayes said lazily. Yang Wu couldn't help but add, "To dismiss a beggar." Huang Fu Taigeng's face twitched violently. Then he asked, "Then, little brother, what kind of compensation do you think is appropriate?" Yang Wu waited for Little Hay to give him more advice, but he didn't expect Little Hay to close her eyes and stop talking. Yang Wu muttered to himself for a moment and said, "I'll give you 5 times the amount of what you said." Huang Fu Taigeng and Shi Shafeng felt their blood rush to their heads. They cursed in their hearts, "This fellow is too greedy." Little Hay opened her eyes once again, and a trace of admiration flashed across her eyes. "He's not too stupid." Yang Wu didn't wait for Huang Fu Taigeng and the others to speak. He said again, "This condition can't be changed. Do as you see fit. Little brother, you're really making things difficult for us. Huangfu Taiging decided to struggle and said, if that's the case, then all of you can stay. Since my brother is already like this, I don't really care about your things. Yang Wu said in a straightforward manner. On the surface, he pretended to be indifferent, but in reality, he was looking forward to it. If they could reach an agreement, then he would receive a shocking amount of wealth. In the future, after he cleared his name, restoring the Yang family's glory would be just around the corner. Huangfu Taiging and Shi Shafeng were speechless. They didn't expect that they, as dignified kings and the highest echelons of the barbarian tribe, would be killed by an unknown brat. They could only hold their noses and accept it. Huangfu Taiging couldn't have brought so much wealth with him. One of them had to go back and take care of everything. There are too many things here. Please give us some time. Also, we need to report to our chief. Huangfu Taiging said with a troubled expression. Yang Wu didn't wait for Huangfu Taiging to finish. He waved his hand and said, you stay with her. Let her go back and prepare for this. I'll stay. Let Lord Ba go back and prepare. Shi Shafeng replied with difficulty. Huangfu Taiging said to Shi Shafeng, you go back. I'm willing to stay. With that, he dispersed all of his power and even put away the barbarian ancestor's image to show his sincerity. Yang Wu immediately asked the old turtle to send Shi Shafeng away. The poor Shi Shafeng was once again thrown by the old turtle like a ball. He was thrown far away and disappeared without a trace. Old Tortoise, seal this old man's power. Yang Wu ordered Old Tortoise. Old Tortoise replied honestly, I'm not good at sealing humans. Don't worry. I'm a man of my word. I won't go back on my words, Huangfu Taiging said quickly. He didn't want to be sealed for real. Little Hey, what can you do? Yang Wu asked Little Hey. He didn't believe Huangfu Taiging's words. It's a piece of cake. Little Hey responded. Then, she transmitted her voice to Old Tortoise. I'll teach you a sealing technique. Old Tortoise, listen carefully. Old Tortoise listened to Little Hay's transmission carefully and quickly understood. Then, he sealed Huangfu Taiging. Huangfu Taiging wanted to resist, but Old Tortoise's strength was there for all to see. He chose to obey. Old Tortoise's sealing technique wasn't very mature. It tortured Huangfu Taiging for a while before sealing him. This made Huangfu Mingyu's heart ache. She didn't find Yang Wu as pleasing to the eye anymore. All right, kid, we can start the second tempering. Little Hay called out to Yang Wu. Chapter 116. In Little Hay's eyes, the conflict between the two countries was not a big deal at all. Yang Wu becoming stronger was the most important thing. Yang Wu did not think too much about it. With Old Tortoise here, Huangfu Mingyu would not be able to cause any trouble. He even magnanimously untied the whip on Huangfu Mingyu's body. Huangfu Mingyu looked at Yang Wu with an extremely melancholy gaze, as if he was the most despicable man in the world. Yang Wu pretended not to see it. He was thinking about how Little Man and Huangfu Mingyu could be sisters with such a huge difference in status. He suspected that Little Man was the abandoned ugly duckling. If that was the case, he had to avenge Little Man. Yang Wu carried Skinny Monkey and followed Little Hay to the other side of the pool. He let Old Tortoise protect him and also blocked Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu's line of sight. He was ready to undergo the second extreme tempering. Huangfu Taiging was very open-minded. He sat beside Huangfu Mingyu and said softly, Princess Ayu, you've suffered. 8th Grandpa, I'm sorry. I've dragged you into this. Huangfu Mingyu said guiltily. Silly child, you're a princess. You're not allowed to say such things. You're the future successor of the Empress who can reach the 3rd tier of brute force, Huangfu Taiging said kindly. After a pause, he added, It's hard to say whether it's a blessing or a curse. 8th Grandpa, what do you mean? Huangfu Mingyu was confused. It's nothing. Just stay here. Huangfu Taiging didn't want to say anything else. His old eyes looked at Yang Wu, who was leaving thoughtfully. Yang Wu did not think that they would be safe with Old Tortoise protecting them. He still had to return to King City and take back everything that belonged to him. He might be able to bring Old Tortoise back with him, but King City was a very dangerous place. There might be someone even more powerful than Old Tortoise hiding in the royal family. He did not dare to do something that was against the law. Little Hay, do you have any ideas on how to make Skinny Monkey get better? Yang Wu asked Little Hay. Leave him here for now. Someone must have searched his soul. We need to find some soul-related herbs to recover his soul. For now, feed him a healing pill to preserve his vitality. I'll concoct some body-nourishing pills to ensure that he doesn't die. Once we find some soul-related herbs, we'll concoct a soul-restoring pill, Little Hay said. Where can I find soul-type herbs? Yang Wu asked. Soul-type herbs are very rare, and you need to be at least a medicine king to be effective. It's hard to find them, Little Hay replied. So if we can't find them, he'll never wake up? Yang Wu asked anxiously. Don't worry. No matter how hard it is, this immortal emperor will find a way, Little Hay said calmly. Then, it changed the topic and said, Kid, you're about to open 365 acupoints? Yes, I'm just a few more away, Yang Wu nodded. Then do you know that the human body has a total of 720 acupoints? Little Hay asked again. Yang Wu shook his head, indicating that he did not know. Little Hay continued. You're just an ignorant kid. Don't think that you'll be more powerful just because you've opened 365 acupoints and increased your cultivation level. For the second and third stages of extreme tempering, I want you to open all 720 acupoints and all your meridians. Then, you'll be able to break through to the next stage. Only then will you be able to unleash the full potential of your body. When that time comes, fighting above your cultivation level will be a piece of cake. Am I not able to fight above my cultivation level now? Yang Wu thought to himself. Little Hay seemed to have seen through Yang Wu's thoughts. It immediately sneered and said, Don't think that you're very powerful. If you meet those true prodigies, they'll only need to use 10% of their strength to defeat you. Yang Wu was unconvinced. I don't believe it. Then why don't we compete? My current cultivation level is actually about the same as yours, Little Hay said with narrowed eyes. Yang Wu recalled the scene of Old Tortoise being burned by Little Hay and immediately admitted defeat. I admit defeat. I'll listen to you. I know you're doing this for my own good. You're afraid that I'll become arrogant. I'll do my best. Looks like you're not too stupid after all, Little Hay said with satisfaction. Then, she said, Go and cultivate under the waterfall. Come back when you've perfected all 365 apertures. Yang Wu nodded. He placed Skinny Monkey aside and fed him a pill. Then, he walked towards the waterfall that was hanging upside down. The rumbling sound of the water was deafening. The mighty momentum of the waterfall had the power of millions of caddies. Such a force of nature was comparable to the attack of a top-notch warrior. Whoever entered the waterfall would probably be smashed to death by the impact. Little Hay asked Yang Wu to cultivate under the waterfall. How could this not be a kind of extreme tempering? Yang Wu walked along the mountain wall. The ground was smooth and slippery. He almost fell several times. It was only after he used the dragon tortoise water suppressing stance that he could walk on the water as if it was flat ground. Soon, Yang Wu arrived under the waterfall. He was hit by the powerful momentum and fell into the pool. His head was dizzy, and he felt as if his brain was about to explode. It was extremely uncomfortable. Blood was flowing out of his 7 apertures. It was obvious how terrifying the momentum was. Yang Wu lay in the water. After circulating the supreme 9 mysteries formula to ease his dizziness, he climbed out of the pool again and walked towards the waterfall. Yang Wu was knocked down again. He felt the blood and qi in his body churning. He spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. He still did not give up. He climbed up for the 3rd time and fell down again. The 4th time. The 5th time. After the 15th time, Yang Wu relied on his last breath and the dragon tortoise water suppressing stance to stand firmly under the waterfall. The powerful momentum of the impact did not diminish. It was powerful and domineering. It came wave after wave. It was truly terrifying. Yang Wu guarded the celestial court tightly. He used his spiritual willpower to withstand the endless roaring power. He also used the dragon tortoise water suppressing stance to continuously absorb the power of the water here. The supreme 9 mysteries formula spun rapidly in his body again and again. He adjusted his strength to the limit to withstand the impact. This time, Yang Wu held on for 7 or 8 minutes. The power of the peach core dantian in his body was exhausted. He was once again washed into the pool. Yang Wu lay in the water and could not get up for a long time. However, his heart was like a mirror. He seemed to have understood something. When the water is concentrated on the impact, my strength is not enough. I can cultivate my endurance and endurance here, as well as resist the power of the force. Yang Wu recovered at an astonishing speed while lying in the water. Soon, he ran back to the waterfall to cultivate. Not long after, Yang Wu was washed into the pool again. However, not long after, he got up again and resisted the waterfall. Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu saw this scene. A trace of shock flashed across their eyes. They had seen many people who cultivated desperately, but this was the first time they saw someone who was so ruthless to himself. If this child grows up, he will not be inferior to those geniuses of the country's guardian forces, Huangfu Taiging exclaimed. If he was not sure if Yang Wu was from the Great Xia dynasty, he would suspect that Yang Wu was a disciple of one of those guardian forces. Only such a disciple could summon such a powerful turtle demon. Are those guardian forces geniuses very powerful? Huangfu Mingyu asked. Of course, there is Mount Amei in the Great Xia dynasty. Most of them only recruit female disciples. All of them are like fairies flying in the sky and burrowing into the ground. They are much stronger than ordinary kings. Our barbarian tribe does not have any guardian forces, but we are under the jurisdiction of the Sacred Flame sect. The Sacred Flame sect is not inferior to the fairies of Mount Amei. This time, we'll let you come out to train so that you can participate in the Sacred Flame sect's disciple selection ceremony in a year. As long as you become a disciple of the Sacred Flame sect and break away from the secular world, you'll have a chance to be like our ancestors and become a saint respected by thousands. Can I really do it? Huangfu Mingyu asked longingly. Of course. If you can't do it, no one in our barbarian tribe can. Huangfu Taiging smiled. But will he really let us go? Huangfu Mingyu looked at Yang Wu with a worried expression. Huangfu Taiging did not answer this question. At this moment, Shi Shafeng had already spread out his profound wings and quickly flew back to the barbarian imperial court. Shi Shafeng was a high-level barbarian king. He could fly for a long time, but he was already seriously injured. With his usual speed, he would need at most a day to return to the imperial court. However, this time, he used almost 3 days to return to the imperial court. The barbarian imperial court was very simple. Many unique large tents were set up on the flat grassland. Here, cows and sheep could be seen walking around casually and eating grass. Giant elephants, tigers, and leopards were in groups and lived together in peace. The barbarians were accompanied by cows and horses, and the elephants and tigers were neighbors. They lived together in peace and harmony. The barbarians were warm and hospitable. At the same time, they were brave and aggressive. This was the blood that flowed in their bones and would never change. The barbarian tribe's geographical location and climate were not good. There were frequent storms and attacks from other wild beasts or spirit demons. They did not have any dangerous places to defend and could only rely on their own 2 hands to fight for a place that belonged to them. The Grand Xia Empire was a prosperous and fertile land. The barbarians had invaded many times because they wanted to expand their territory and give their people a better place to live. Unfortunately, although the people of the Grand Xia Empire looked weak, they had an endless supply of geniuses. This caused the barbarians' invasion to be thwarted. The current barbarian king was a man of great talent and bold vision. After many years of rest and recuperation, he was already prepared to launch a fierce attack on the Grand Xia Empire in 1 or 2 years when the time was ripe. He must take over the Grand Xia Empire's territory. In the imperial court's tent, a tall and mighty middle-aged barbarian sat on a tiger-skin throne. He wore a crown on his head and golden armor on his body. A golden lion king lay at his feet. His eyes were filled with arrogance. Needless to say, This was the current barbarian king, Huangfu Zhanxiong. Huangfu Zhanxiong was a man of great talent and bold vision. He was also an emperor who was infatuated with love. He only had one beloved wife and did not take in any concubines. Many years ago, his wife gave birth to a pair of twin daughters for him. Unfortunately, not long after, his eldest daughter was captured. Until now, he had not found the culprit nor his lost daughter. This was the root of his illness. Fortunately, not long ago, Huangfu Taiging told him that his elder sister, Huangfu Mingzhu, was still alive. Moreover, it caused a commotion in the clan. In the end, it was confirmed that his daughter was in the Grand Xia Empire. He could not wait to bathe the Grand Xia Empire in blood. Unfortunately, before he could give the order to attack the Grand Xia, he heard Shi Shafeng hurriedly report that his youngest daughter, Huangfu Mingyu, was captured by the Grand Xia people. He was so angry that he roared on the spot, "Shi Shafeng, you are one of the strongest warriors of my tribe. You actually failed to protect Princess Mingyu. You deserve to be beheaded." Chapter 117. As one of the 10 great barbarian kings, Shi Shafeng was conferred the title of the strongest warrior and was the main general of the barbarian army. Even though he was about to be executed, he was not afraid at all. Instead, he bowed and said, "Everything will wait until Princess Mingyu and Lord Taiging are rescued. I, Shafeng, am willing to accept my death." Huangfu Zhanxiong calmed down the anger in his heart and asked, "All right, I will allow you to punish me after this matter is over. Now, tell me what the Great Xiao wants. I will comply with everything they say, as long as Mingyu is safe." Shi Shafeng made a long story short and told Huangfu Zhanxiong everything from the beginning to the end. A young man from the Great Xia is already so powerful. Could it be that he is from one of the great forces of the country? Huangfu Zhanxiong murmured to himself with a puzzled expression. After a pause, he waved his hand and said, "First, prepare the compensation according to his compensation method. As long as Mingyu is safe, we can still take revenge in the future." "Yes, Your Majesty," Shi Shafeng replied. Subsequently, Shi Shafeng ordered his men to gather the compensation items. In less than half a day, everything was ready. He led this compensation team and rushed to the Wolf Smoke Mountain Range at full speed. This time, the compensation team was relatively large. Even the barbarian emperor was personally dispatched. This showed how much the barbarian emperor valued his daughter. In the middle of the Wolf Smoke Mountain Range, there was a waterfall that looked like an upside-down river of stars. It was gorgeous and colorful, and its momentum was shocking. Under this waterfall, there was a bare-chested youth standing there, receiving the incessant assault of the waterfall. However, he stood there motionless like a pillar, allowing the majestic waves to batter him endlessly. The meridians in the young man's body surged like a river. A large amount of water, Xian energy, seeped into his body through his feet and the skin and flesh all over his body. This energy continuously flowed into his dantian. His dantian was emitting the purest energy from his dantian. In the past few days, Yang Wu had been practicing under the waterfall. The strength in his body had accumulated to the peak, and his 365 acupoints had been completely perfected. At this stage, he could transform his qi into armor, which was the symbol of the general realm. In reality, Yang Wu had already been able to use more than 200 acupoints to achieve the step of transforming qi into armor. Now that he had perfected all 365 acupoints, it was even easier for him to achieve this step. However, he did not attempt to break through to the human general realm. Once he broke through, his 365 acupoints would become one, and the other hidden acupoints would no longer be connected. In the future, his circulatory cycle would revolve around these 365 acupoints, and his foundation would be fixed at this step. Little Hay had asked him to open 720 acupoints. Yang Wu had discovered that many of his acupoints had not been opened yet, so he decided to do as Little Hay said. He would wait until he had opened 720 acupoints. The other acupoints were hidden mysteriously, and some of them were inconspicuous, as if they were of no importance. Many people would directly ignore them, and it was extremely difficult to open them. This was also the reason why many people would only attempt to break through to the general realm after opening 365 acupoints. He had been practicing under the waterfall for the past few days, and he increasingly understood that the human body had great potential. If he could build a solid foundation, he would be able to go even further in the future. On this day, with the help of Little Hay's medicinal liquid, he opened 2 more inconspicuous acupoints with great difficulty. These 2 acupoints were not the major acupoints of the human body, but they required more energy to open than those major acupoints. He had only been able to open them after many attempts. He came to a conclusion. The acupoints of the major acupoints of the human body could only be opened by relying on extraordinary meridians. Among the 8 extraordinary meridians, he had already opened the conception and governing meridians, as well as the chong and girdle meridians. With these 4 extraordinary meridians opened, he would be able to open the other acupoints. In other words, if he wanted to open 720 acupoints, he would have to open 8 meridians before he could reach this step. All of this was still a long way to go. At this moment, Yang Wu let out a cry and gathered all his strength on his arms. His entire body seemed to have turned into a roaring dragon turtle, and he struck out with both arms. The powerful force caused the water that was rushing down to flow backward by more than 10 feet. This astonishing scene landed on the eyes of the old man and the young man not far away, and shock appeared in their eyes. The waterfall was 100 meters tall, and the force of its fall was definitely extremely powerful. Even a general realm cultivator would not be able to withstand such a force. Not only did Yang Wu withstand it, but he even caused the waterfall to flow backward by 10 feet. What kind of powerful force was this? It's a disaster, not a blessing, for our barbarian tribe to have such a potential enemy. Huang Fu Taiging sighed softly. He is indeed very powerful. I'm afraid that no one among the younger generation of the barbarian tribe is his match, Huang Fu Mingyu said with pursed lips. Now, her heart was in a mess. The more outstanding this young man from Great Xia was, the more she liked him. However, the 2 countries were in a hostile state, and it was impossible for them to be together. However, it's not impossible to deal with such a young man. If Princess you can sacrifice a little, perhaps he can still be of use to us, Huang Fu Taiging said after thinking for a while looking at Huang Fu Mingyu. He was experienced, and it was very easy for him to see through a young girl's heart. He could feel that Huang Fu Mingyu had fallen in love with Yang Wu. 8th grandfather, what do you want me to do? Huang Fu Mingyu asked. Huang Fu Taiging said meaningfully, even heroes have a weakness for the charms of beautiful women. Huang Fu Mingyu's face instantly turned as red as the setting sun. Yang Wu ended his cultivation and returned to Little Hay's side. In the past few days, Little Hay had been appearing and disappearing unpredictably. She went to look for a lot of old herbs to prepare for Yang Wu. When Yang Wu walked over, Little Hay said with satisfaction, your body is in good condition now. You can accept the second extreme tempering. Come on, Yang Wu said with a look of desire. As his strength continued to grow, Yang Wu felt better and better. He couldn't wait for the moment when he could get rid of his current identity. Your fighting spirit is good. You'll have a good time later. Little Hay laughed and spat out the Shen Immortal Cauldron. Using the same method as last time, she put the water and old herbs into the cauldron one by one. Then, she spat out a flame and boiled the water in the cauldron. Looking at the boiling hot medicinal water, Yang Wu swallowed his saliva and gritted his teeth before jumping into the cauldron. Ah! The scream was so shrill that it scared both Huang Fu Taiging and Huang Fu Mingyu. They were sure that it was Yang Wu's voice. They wanted to see what was going on, but Old Tortoise was watching them closely and didn't allow them to leave within 6 meters of the cauldron. They couldn't see what was going on at all. The scream lasted for an hour. Huang Fu Mingyu felt like her heart was about to break. When everything quieted down, Yang Wu's 7 orifices and flesh were oozing terrifying blood. It had completely mixed with the medicinal water, and it looked so terrifying. This kid actually withstood the 10,000 needles of the 10,000 thorns vine. Not bad, Little Hay praised. The boiling heat in the cauldron wasn't the scariest part. The scariest part was a strange herb called the 10,000 thorns vine. When it mixed with the medicinal water, it would greatly increase the stimulation. Its effect made Yang Wu feel like he was being pricked by 10,000 needles. It wasn't something that an ordinary person could withstand. In addition, there was also the power of old tortoise's blood essence. When the pure demonic blood seeped into Yang Wu's blood and body, it also made him feel like he was being bitten. Extreme tempering of the body and forcing out one's potential were definitely not just words. After this torment, only by collecting the herbs in the cauldron could he properly display the medicinal effects of these herbs. As the medicinal powers seeped into every part of Yang Wu's body underwent a new round of evolution. The most obvious change was that 2 of his meridians had been opened at the same time. They were the Yangwei meridian and the Yinwei meridian. Of the 8 meridians, 6 had been opened, and only the last 2 were left. In addition, 88 unknown acupoints had been opened, bringing Yang Wu's acupoints to a total of 455. Some of his potential had been completely awakened. Apart from the potential of his 5 senses, there was also the potential of his limbs, as well as the potential of his organs. This potential would increase one's vitality. At the same time, it would also give one an advantage that ordinary people couldn't compare to. For example, some people were born with clairvoyant eyes, clairvoyant ears, or heavenly canine nose. These were the signs of digging out one's potential to the extreme. Now, Yang Wu didn't have clairvoyant eyes or clairvoyant ears, but his eyesight and hearing were definitely better than ordinary people. In addition, the potential of his feet was known as the wind god's legs. Because most of the acupoints that had been opened were under his feet, the ultimate potential of his feet had been opened. In addition, his divine court flower bud had been further strengthened, and his mental strength had become extraordinary. Perhaps one day, he would be able to use his mental strength to launch an attack. This kind of potential was called soul power potential, and it was an extremely rare potential talent. With this strengthening, Yang Wu felt that he had been reborn again, and his temperament was also different from the past. Now, he was confident that he could defeat any martial artist in the general realm. Even if he faced a real king, he wouldn't be suppressed by his opponent's aura to the point that he couldn't move. After twisting his body, Yang Wu looked at Little Hay and said very seriously, "Little Hay, thank you. All right. Helping you is also helping this celestial emperor." "Don't say such sentimental words," Little Hay replied. After pausing for a moment, it said, "Now, continue to temper yourself. After you've stabilized your strength, I'll give you the 3rd stage of tempering." "No problem. I'll go take a look at Shouho first," Yang Wu replied with a nod. "That brat is fine. Don't worry. After this is over, this celestial emperor will go find a soul-type medicine king. He'll definitely be able to recover to his original state, or even become stronger." Little Hay promised. Yang Wu nodded and then walked over to where Shouho was. He looked at Shouho, who was still in a deep sleep, and sighed softly. "Brother, don't worry. I'll definitely wake you up again." Then, Yang Wu took out the sealing pearl that he had obtained from Shi Shafeng and said to Little Hay, "Little Hay, help me undo the seal here. Don't bite off more than you can chew. You'd better cultivate the few low-level battle skills that you've obtained, especially that soldier's fist. It contains the fist intent of simplifying the complicated into the simple. It's much more practical than other battle skills," Little Hay replied. Yang Wu didn't force it. He took Little Hay's words to heart and began to recall the cultivation diagrams of the soldier's fist. While he was cultivating, a group of uninvited guests barged into this place. Moreover, this group of uninvited guests were not from the barbarian tribe. Chapter 118. The Sacred Flame Sect was a national power located in the southern region. In this part of Huaxia, there were a total of 28 most powerful national forces. There were the 1 palace, 2 temples, 3 halls for islands, 5 mountains, 6 gates, and 7 sects. Among them, Mount Amei in the Great Xia dynasty was one of the 5 mountains, while the Sacred Fire sect that governed the territory of the barbarian tribe was one of the 7 sects. These national powers did not have the power of a single country. Instead, they suppressed tens of thousands of countries at the same time. Each of them ruled over a vast region, and various small countries and races were under their jurisdiction. Their strength was hard to imagine. In the eyes of mortals, they were high and mighty gods and immortals. Mortals, on the other hand, yearned for the day when they could enter the transcendent realm from the mortal world and become a member who looked down on all living things. They could enjoy a lifespan of 1,000 years or even 10,000 years and pursue the path of immortality. The people who had barged into the territory of Yangwu and the others were a group of Sacred Flame sect disciples. The Sacred Flame sect disciples were dressed very strangely. Men and women wore thick clothes and decorated themselves with various gold and silver accessories. There was no doubt that they were from a different race. In addition, there was a unique symbol on their chests. It was a ball of flame. Legend had it that a ball of sacred spirit fire had fallen into the Sacred Flame sect. A saint had obtained the sacred spirit fire and established the sect. After tens of thousands of years of development and inheritance, the sect gradually developed from small power to a national power, ruling over a large area in the southern region of the Huaxia region. The group of Sacred Flame sect disciples were on different spirit demons. There was a ball of white and yellow flames embroidered on their chests. This was the symbol of the Sacred Flame sect disciples. There were a total of 7 flame symbols in the Sacred Flame sect. They were white, yellow, blue, green, red, purple, and black. The higher the status, the deeper the color symbol. White was the lowest status in the Sacred Flame sect. These people would be the Sacred Flame sect's servants and outer sect disciples. Only after becoming inner sect disciples would they be qualified to have yellow flames embroidered on their chests. There were only 3 people who were qualified to have yellow flames embroidered on their chests. These 3 people were a middle-aged man and a young boy and girl. The middle-aged man was in his early 40s. He wore a cloth-wrapped hat, had a mustache, a high-nosed bridge, and sunken eyes. He carried an ancient sword on his back and rode on a mighty green-scaled elephant king. This man and his mount gave off an unapproachable aura. To be able to ride on an elephant king, this middle-aged man was a king. He was called Luohan Chao. The young girl's beauty was excellent. She wore gold and silver, revealing her sexy figure. She held a pipa in her hand, and cheerful music was played under her jade-like fingertips. Her silvery voice rippled through the forest, adding a comfortable atmosphere to the group. This girl was from the Miao tribe. Her name was Zhu Ruohong. She was riding Fire Civet and was riding beside Tuoba Nassau. Her seductive eyes never left Tuoba Nassau. Behind the 3 of them were outer sect disciples on different mounts. All of them looked quite young, between 16 to 18 years old. However, they were not weak. There were a total of 25 people. Each of them carried bags of various sizes. Some of the bags were still stained with blood. It was obvious that they contained some blood. When this group of people approached, Yang Wu, who was cultivating his combat skills, had already sensed their presence. Yang Wu climbed up a tree. His eyes shone with a sharp light. Through the layers of obstacles, he saw the people walking slowly from afar through the small gaps. He also heard the music played by Zhu Ruohong. He thought to himself, "They're not from the barbarian tribe." Yang Wu thought that they were the people brought by Shi Shafeng. Now, it seemed that they were not. He quickly landed and came in front of Huangfu Taigeng and Huangfu Mingyu. He said, "There are some strangers coming this way. Don't talk too much later. Don't complicate matters." Other than the barbarian tribe, only the great Xia scouts would occasionally appear here. What other strangers could there be? Huangfu Taigeng wondered in his heart. Yang Wu returned to the pool with Old Tortoise, who was lying on the shore. He wanted to figure out whether they were friend or foe. Little Hay appeared on Yang Wu's shoulder and said, "This group is not weak. They have a king-level expert. They're even stronger than the old man who was captured." "You know this too?" Yang Wu asked in surprise. "When you reach a certain level, you can also sense the other party's level from their long breaths and the aura they condense," Little Hay said. "I see." Yang Wu seemed to have understood something. The people from the Sacred Flame sect did not change their direction. They had been training in the forest for a period of time and needed to find a water source to wash off the dirt they had accumulated over the past few days. Luo Hanshao also sensed that there were people in this direction. However, he did not care at all. As a member of the Sacred Flame sect, no matter where he was considered a superior existence. Soon, their group appeared in front of Yang Wu, Huangfu Taiging, and Huangfu Mingyu. Huangfu Taiging revealed a faint smile that was difficult to detect. This was because he had already recognized the origins of this group of people. Perhaps they could be saved. Zhu Ruohong stopped playing the guqin. With a trace of red on her face, she said, "There are a few people in front. Yes, they seem to be from the barbarian tribe. There is also one person from the Great Xia." Tuoba Meng replied indifferently. His gaze locked onto Huangfu Mingyu, and a trace of interest appeared in his arrogant eyes. "Ha ha ha." Tuoba Nasuo replied indifferently while riding on the golden lion. Tuoba Nasuo led the group of people in the direction of Yang Wu's group. When they arrived near the pool, they all got off their mounts and let their mounts drink from the pool on their own. Meanwhile, they took out wine and meat and sat on the ground to eat and drink. Yang Wu saw that these people had no intention of causing trouble, so he did not pay too much attention to them. After all, it was better to avoid unnecessary trouble at the moment. Everything could wait until the barbarian tribe's compensation. Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu did not cause any unnecessary trouble for Yang Wu. They just stood there quietly. However, some trouble would still come. No matter what, it could not be stopped. Toba snapped his fingers and said to a female outer sect disciple beside him, "Junior sister, please invite 2 friends from my tribe over." The female disciple answered sweetly, "Yes, senior brother Nasaw, I'm willing to serve you." The female disciple twisted the little man's waist like a snake and walked briskly toward Yang Wu, Huangfu Taiging, and Huangfu Danyu. This female disciple was called Lan Ning. She was about 17 years old and had the strength of a low-level general. To have such a realm at such a young age, she was considered an extremely outstanding genius in the mortal world. However, she was only an outer sect disciple of the Sacred Flame sect. It could be seen how strict the Sacred Flame sect was in selecting disciples. When Lanning arrived in front of Yang Wu's group, she ignored Yang Wu and said to Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu in a slightly arrogant manner, "You two, come over here. Our senior brother wants to talk to you." This was a completely commanding tone, as if she did not care about the 3 people in front of her. If it were not for the fact that 2 of them were from the Berserker tribe like her senior brother, her tone would have been even worse. This was a habit of the Sacred Flame sect that was superior to others. Before Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu could speak, Yang Wu spoke first. "They won't go with you. Go back." Lanning glanced at Yang Wu and said calmly, "It's none of your business here. You'd better stay aside. Don't make trouble for yourself. She's my fiancé. He's my fiancé's grandfather. Why is it none of my business?" Yang Wu said with a faint smile. Then, he put his hand on Huangfu Mingyu's shoulder and looked intimate. Huangfu Mingyu's body stiffened, but in the end, she did not resist Yang Wu's action. Instead, her heart was beating fast, and her face was flushed. Lanning scolded with dissatisfaction. "I'll say it again. Let the 2 of them go and greet my senior brother immediately. Otherwise, they'll have to bear the consequences. If there's anything, ask your senior brother to come here and talk. We don't have time to deal with him." Yang Wu waved his hand at Lanning as if he was shooing away flies. This time, Lanning was completely furious. The Sacred Flame sect was in the mortal world. Even the king had to be courteous when he saw them. However, in this mountain range, they had met an ignorant young man. She said sternly, "Boy, look at who we are before you speak. Otherwise, your whole family will be implicated. It's not a joke." "My whole family will be implicated?" Yang Wu's eyes instantly darkened as he shouted. "That's right. If you dare to say no again, no matter where you're from, our Sacred Flame sect will be like crushing ants. We'll completely wipe out your entire family." Lan Ning threatened with great confidence. After she said this, she felt that Yang Wu would definitely kneel down and beg for her forgiveness. Moreover, he would obediently hand over the 2 people. She firmly believed that no one could refuse the Sacred Flame's sex orders. Unfortunately, what awaited her was not what she expected. Instead, it was Yang Wu's sudden slap. Slap! Yang Wu's slap was so fast that Lan Ying could not react at all. Her face burned uncomfortably from the slap. 5 fingerprints could even be seen on her face. Get lost, Yang Wu shouted rudely. Family was always a sore spot in Yang Wu's heart. No matter who touched it, they would not have a good time. Lan Ying covered her face and stared at him in disbelief. She shouted, "You lowly commoner, how dare you hit me? You're courting death." As soon as she finished speaking, she was about to attack Yang Wu and kill him. Unfortunately, she did not have the chance to do so. Yang Wu continued to slap her cheeks several times. Slap! Lan Ying was stunned by the slap. She was an outer disciple of the Holy Fire Apprentice and had reached the general realm. In the mortal world, she could even fight against a middle-level general realm expert. However, she didn't even have a chance to fight against this young man. Her pride was completely shattered. Chapter 119. Yang Wu had instigated Lan Ying into a daze. The disciples of the Sacred Fire sect naturally reacted immediately. Their eyes were filled with anger as they stood up one after another. Someone among them shouted, "Junior Sister Lan was beaten up by that kid. I'll go and avenge her." A tall and strong young man with 2 axes on his back quickly rushed in Yang Wu's direction and shouted, "Peasant, stop! How dare you hit my junior sister? You're courting death." The young man was also about 17 years old, but he had already reached the intermediate general realm. Judging from the way he ran, he left a sizable pit on the ground. It was clear how domineering his strength was. When a young man was about to approach Yang Wu, he threw a punch at Yang Wu. A fist force that contained an earthen yellow color rushed straight at Yang Wu's face. The force of this punch was at least 50 cauldrons. It was definitely not something that an ordinary general realm cultivator could withstand. However, this powerful punch was caught by Yang Wu with a raise of his hand. It did not pose any threat to him at all. Moreover, he directly crushed the fist force, forcing the young man who was rushing over to him to retreat instantly. "How dare you flaunt your strength here? Do you really think that I'm easy to bully?" Yang Wu said with a hint of disdain. In the past, it would not be so easy for him to deal with a cultivator in the general realm. However, now that he had unlocked the potential of his body's energy had become very powerful. He was confident that there were not many people below the King realm who were a match for him. Yang Wu felt that his hands were itching. He really wanted to practice on these people in front of him. He found that they were all very young, about the same age as him. Judging from their tone, they had an extraordinary background. Perhaps they were a group of geniuses. If he could compete with them, he could also prove how powerful he was now. "How dare you ignore the people of the Sacred Fire sect? You deserve to die." The young man who had just attacked was not discouraged by Yang Wu's retreat. He roared, pulled out the 2 axes on his back, and attacked Yang Wu again. This young man's strength was extraordinary. When the 2 axes slashed out fiercely, the power was close to that of an ordinary high-level general realm cultivator. The power of the 2 axes was enough to split a mountain. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Yang Wu. This kind of attack is as slow as a turtle. Yang Wu looked at the young man's attack as if it was just for show. His face was full of disappointment. In the next moment, he kicked out with lightning speed. Bang! Before the young master knew what was going on, he felt a sharp pain in his abdomen and was sent flying like a rock. Finally, he slammed heavily into a large tree, breaking the tree before he could barely come to a stop. "Brother, sure," Lan Ying cried out in pain. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. She pulled out 2 daggers and stabbed at Yang Wu. Lan Ying's daggers were like snakes as they pierced towards Yang Wu's waist. These sharp daggers were actually general weapons. They could even pierce through copper and iron walls. Before Lan Ying could stab Yang Wu, her wrists were grabbed by Yang Wu. Yang Wu scolded, "Let go!" Yang Wu did not show any mercy. He broke Lan Ying's wrists. She was in so much pain that she broke out in cold sweat and almost fainted. Yang Wu kicked Lan Ying out, causing her to fall with the young man. Then, he said coldly, "I don't care if you are from the Sacred Flame sect or the Sacred Water sect. Don't bother us again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." When Yang Wu said this, it was obvious that he was looking in the direction of Tuoba Nasuo and the others. This was a strong warning. This angered the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect. Where did this mountain barbarian come from? How dare he ignore our Sacred Flame sect? Wait for me to kill him. An ordinary-looking young man shouted angrily. It's too easy to kill him. I think it's better for me to give him some goo so that he will listen to my commands. A young girl in meow clothes said as she played with a strange bug. My little gold is hungry too. Why don't we let little gold eat him? A strong young man with a golden python coiled around his body said coldly. None of the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect were kind people. Even if Yang Wu's performance was extraordinary, it was nothing in their eyes. There are still secular people who don't know about our Sacred Flame sect. It seems that we need to let him know how powerful our Sacred Flame sect is. Tuoba Nasuo said in an extremely gentle voice. He paused and looked at the young man with a golden python coiled around him. Junior brother Xian, go teach this secular person a lesson for me. The name of our Sacred Flame sect is not to be sullied. Yes, senior brother Tuoba. The young man called Xian Jelly replied with a devilish smile. Then, he walked towards Yang Wu with his golden snake python in his arms. This golden python was a golden silk python. It was 1.5 feet long. Its thick body was the size of a person's thigh. The tongue that it spat out from time to time was very long. Its triangular eyes flashed with a strong bloodthirst. Xian Jelly touched the head of the golden python and said, Little gold, go. I'll leave the kid's meat to you. The golden python opened its huge mouth and quickly climbed down from Xian Jelly's body. It rushed towards Yang Wu from the ground. The golden python looked cumbersome, but its speed was not random. It did not attack Yang Wu immediately. Instead, it chose a direction and curled up its body. The next moment, it shot towards Yang Wu like an arrow. The speed was so fast that everyone could only see a flash of golden light. It was too difficult to catch its movements. Xian Jelly was very confident in the golden python. Even if there was a high-level general here, they might not be able to catch his little gold. They might even be eaten by his little gold. However, everything did not go as the others thought. The golden thread python was caught in Yang Wu's palm. Its open mouth was tightly gripped, and it was difficult for it to open it again. However, its most powerful attack was not its mouth, but its body. It quickly wrapped around Yang Wu's body. Its binding power could strangle tigers and leopards to death. Its strength was very domineering. Yang Wu did not stop the golden silk python from coiling around him. He wanted to see how strong this python was and whether he could withstand it. Xian Jelly slowly walked over with a faint smile on his face. It's too late for you to kneel and beg for mercy now. I think we should each take a step back. Don't make things worse. Huang Fu Taiging said, This is none of your business. Don't meddle, Xian Jelly replied. After a pause, he added, Our senior brother is calling you over. You can go over now. Huang Fu Taiging shook his head gently. He did not dare to take a step forward. He had only spoken out of consideration for the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect. If something happened to the kid in front of him and the old turtle came out, even the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect would not be enough. Senior brother Xian, let me chop off his dog head. The young man with 2 axes who had just been kicked away by Yang Wu rushed over and shouted, I'm going to dig out his heart. Lanning also rushed over and shouted in shock. Don't worry, he's my little gold's food today. Xian Jelly said with a wave of his hand. The young man with 2 axes and Lanning did not dare to go against Xian Jelly's words. Although they were all outer sect disciples, Xian Jelly's strength was above theirs. They had to listen to him. Yang Wu was entangled by the golden silk serpent. He only felt that his body was a little tight, but it did not cause him much harm at all. He impatiently clasped the serpent's mouth, and his other hand struggled to break free. He clasped the serpent's back and pulled with both hands. The 1.5 feet long golden silk serpent was directly torn into 2 halves. The serpent's blood sprinkled down, and it was a ghastly sight. Xian Jelly was stunned. His spiritual pet had been torn in half by the kid's bare hands. The young man with 2 axes and Lanning both took 2 steps back in shock. They knew that the golden python's strength was at the intermediate level of the demon general realm, and its binding strength could easily kill an advanced demon general realm cultivator. However, this young man was too strong. He had torn this resilient python in half with his bare hands. "Wife, let's eat roasted snake today." Yang Wu waved the broken snake in his hand and said to Huang Fu Mingyu. He just wanted to show off his strength and intimidate Huang Fu Mingyu and Huang Fu Taiging at the same time. Otherwise, they would end up like this snake. Huang Fu Mingyu's beautiful eyes flashed with sparkling light. She replied, "Okay, I'll make a fire. You roast it." Yang Wu did not expect Huang Fu Mingyu to be so cooperative. He immediately nodded with satisfaction and said, "No problem. I'll leave the snake's gallbladder for you to nourish your body. Our child will definitely grow white and fat." Even if Huang Fu Mingyu was bold and unrestrained, she could not stand Yang Wu's words in public. Her face flushed with shyness. Huang Fu Taiging frowned slightly at first, but then he relaxed. If Yang Wu wanted to do something to Huang Fu Mingyu, he would have done it long ago. Why would he wait until now? "You actually kill my little gold, I will tear you to pieces." Xian Jelly came back to his senses and was completely furious. His body emitted a golden light, and the shadow of a snake appeared. A golden snake's sword appeared in his hand, and he attacked Yang Wu. Xian Jelly and the young man with double axes were both in the intermediate general realm, but he was stronger. Furthermore, he had refined the essence blood of the golden snake python, which gave him more powerful abilities. One of the talents of the golden snake python was the snake winding steps. This step could make his body become ethereal, and his attacks were more tricky. Golden snake phantom. Xian Jelly's attacks were dazzling. It was impossible to see where he was stabbing. They could only feel the oppressive Xian Qi, which was very sharp and overbearing. Xian Jelly used a powerful move right away. He wanted to kill Yang Wu on the spot. Yang Wu looked at Xian Jelly's attack calmly. He felt that it was somewhat powerful, but it could not escape his senses. The flaw was too obvious. He muttered in his heart, "Seems like I have to kill the chicken to warn the monkey." Yang Wu made his move. It was a simple straight punch that came from the battle diagram of Soldier Fist, but it was this punch that smashed into Xian Jelly's weak point. The fist energy landed solidly on Xian Jelly's chest. Bang! Xian Jelly was sent flying like a cannonball. He spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. It was so bright. "If you want to cause trouble, then come meet together. I don't have so much time to waste with you," Yang Wu said calmly as he looked at the stunned Sacred Flame sect disciples not far away. Chapter 120. This time, the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect were completely enraged. They had sent 3 people over, but none of them could withstand a single blow from him. They suspected that the other party might also be from a national faction in the transcendent world like them. Several outer sect disciples walked toward Yang Wu. They came aggressively, obviously enraged by Yang Wu's actions. "You've injured 2 of my junior brothers and 1 of my junior sisters. Don't even think about leaving today." A man with a fiery red spear took the lead and rushed over. "Feng Guang, don't waste your breath on him. Just kill him." Another ordinary-looking young man said from the side. Another young lady from the Miao tribe said coquettishly, "Don't kill him. Keep him as a puppet for me. With just a few of you, you're nothing but chickens and pottery dogs." Yang Wu shook his finger at them and said contemptuously, "Very well, I'll show you what chickens and pottery dogs really are." The man in the lead shouted. His fiery spear spun rapidly, and a large amount of celestial qi appeared, forming a fiery red ball. Then he stabbed it toward Yang Wu. The fiery lotus bloomed. This attack was quite impressive. His combat strength had obviously increased by more than a level compared to the previous 3 people. However, his realm was still at the mid-level general realm. It was obvious that his foundation was more solid. The other ordinary-looking young man did not stay idle either. They rushed over together to deal with Yang Wu. How could they fight one-on-one with Yang Wu? Boiling oil ball fire. This knife hand technique was equally powerful. It slashed toward Yang Wu's lower body. The condensed celestial qi formed a ball and attacked Yang Wu's lower body in a frenzy. Both of them had cultivated general techniques, and their attacks had reached the stage of great success. It was no wonder that they could unleash such powerful combat strength. In addition, the young lady from the Miao tribe took out a short tube and blew a breath into it. A swarm of poisonous bees surrounded Yang Wu and stabbed him. This was the Miao tribe's insect repellent technique. When the three of them attacked together, a high-level general would find it difficult to withstand. Even a top-level general would have to retreat. This was the offensive ability of a genius from the transcendent world. However, they were still only outer sect disciples. If they wanted to become inner sect disciples, they still had to go through many challenges before they had the qualifications to do so. The young man in front of them, who was either from the mortal world or the transcendent world, was listed as one of their whetstones. Young Master Toba, watch carefully. That kid might not be so simple, Luo Hanshao said to Toba Nasawa. Toba, if he can defeat all the other junior brothers and sisters, I'll pay attention to him. Toba Nasawa said nonchalantly. The three young geniuses joined forces to deal with Yang Wu. Different attacks were already rushing towards Yang Wu at different speeds. Yang Wu had no way to escape from the two overbearing fire, celestial qi, and the terrifying poisonous bees. If it were any other advanced general realm martial artist, or even a top general realm martial artist, he would not have been able to dodge these attacks. But now, Yang Wu was in a state of extreme confidence. After being tempered to the extreme twice, his physical potential had been unlocked, and his various reactions had become unimaginably powerful. His perceptive force had sensed the three waves of attacks clearly, and he reacted as fast as he could. Wave splitting palm. Yang Wu's palm struck out 2 waves of attacks. The surging momentum was extremely overbearing and powerful. It quickly submerged the fire lotus and shattered the fireball. Although their attacks were strong, they were still not as powerful as Yang Wu's. In addition, Yang Wu's water celestial qi restrained the opponent's fire celestial qi, making it difficult for them to do anything. In Yang Wu's eyes, the biggest threat was the poisonous bees. When the other 2 people counterattacked, a thick layer of celestial qi armor had formed on his body. This layer of celestial qi armor was even thicker and tougher than the celestial qi armor of the 4th level of the general realm. This was obviously the power displayed by Yang Wu after he opened 6 meridians and 455 acupoints. Not only that, but this celestial qi armor also formed a layer of shell. This shell was very similar to a turtle's shell, and its defensive strength was greatly increased. This was all because Little Hay had added Demon Turtle's blood essence to the medicinal cauldron. It was a powerful bloodline that came from a king realm bloodline or above, so Yang Wu's body had unknowingly gained some of Demon Turtle's innate abilities. Yang Wu's defensive ability could not be simply called an ordinary celestial qi armor. It could be called a celestial qi armor. Yang Wu really did not expect that he would have such an ability. Now that he had released it, he immediately felt that something was different. The poisonous bees stabbed Yang Wu with their poisonous needles, trying to injure Yang Wu. These tiny poisonous needles were enough to poison any general realm martial artist to death. When the densely packed poisonous needles stabbed towards Yang Wu in a frenzy, these poisonous needles were all blocked by Yang Wu's celestial qi armor. Wisps of black fog could be seen rising from the celestial qi armor. This is impossible. Even the celestial qi armor of the general realm can't block my poisonous bee needles, but he can actually block it. The Meow Woman cried out in surprise. Just because a general realm martial artist can't block, it doesn't mean that this Viscount can't block it. Yang Wu shouted excitedly and slapped at the poisonous bees. His celestial qi condensed into a huge palm that directly crushed them into powder. My bees, you really deserve to die. The Meow Woman let out a sorrowful roar and blew into the short tube again. A series of strange rhythmic sounds came out, and soon there were strange movements in the surroundings. Yang Wu did not have time to pay attention to these things. He was still busy dealing with the other 2 people. He did not activate the Tao Flower of Death. Instead, he relied on his newly increased strength to spar with the other 2 people. 1-inch punch, mountain collapsing palm, flying speed kick. These battle techniques had all reached the great accomplishment stage, and the power they could unleash was not inferior to any top-notch general realm martial artist. The attacks of the two Sacred Fire Sect youths were completely useless. It was not that the two youths were too weak, but Yang Wu's combat strength was too strong. Each of his punches and palms could unleash celestial chi that was more than 20 feet long, crushing the two youths to the point that they were battered and exhausted. Yang Wu did not want to play with him at all. His gaze locked onto Feng Guang as he moved his flying speed kick. In a flash, he had already landed beside Feng Guang. He threw a very simple uppercut and hit the lower part of Feng Guang's arm that was holding the spear. The pain was so great that his arm throbbed and the flintlock slipped out of his hand. Yang Wu quickly grabbed his arm and viciously kicked Feng Guang's buttocks with his back facing Feng Guang. Feng Guang only felt that his buttocks had been smashed, and he threw himself at his companion, Li Fu. Li Fu did not catch Feng Guang. After his body flashed past, he used his best move. His body spun, and the power of his saber skyrocketed. Surging celestial chi of fire quickly gushed out, forming a tornado that was more than 30 feet long that slashed toward Yang Wu. Fire tornado! This raging celestial chi of fire seemed to be real firepower. The terrifying scorching power was really difficult to bear. The surrounding gravel was swept up and immediately burned into ashes. This kind of power was indeed a big threat to Yang Wu before, but it was really nothing to him now. His body bounced up, and both of his legs continuously kicked out. The shadows of his legs were like whips, directly kicking the fire tornado into pieces. Boom! 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 Two streams of celestial chi kept exploding, and the surroundings were in a mess. It was like a natural disaster. How could an ordinary general realm martial artist cause such destructive power? Only a genius general realm martial artist like Li Fu had such ability. When the two forces dissipated, Li Fu was sent flying. There were 9 footprints on his body, and a lot of blood seeped out. He looked very miserable. Just as Yang Wu defeated Li Fu, the strange creatures attracted by Miao Nu's flute moved out. Dozens of snakes and insects crawled out from the grass. They either flew or sped up and rushed toward Yang Wu. These snakes and insects were very poisonous. Their bloodthirsty fangs and corrosive poisonous gas were enough to kill a general realm martial artist who was caught off guard. Yang Wu ignored these attacks. He grabbed several poisonous snakes and tore them into 2 on the spot. Some poisonous ants were directly stomped into powder by him. Their attacks were completely unable to break his celestial armor. The more Miao Nu played, the more poisonous creatures appeared. It was as if there was no end to them. However, how could Yang Wu give her this opportunity? Yang Wu rushed toward Miao Nu and threw the snake corpse in his hand at her. That Miao Nu was frightened by Yang Wu's strength, and the sound of her flute immediately became messy. Don't hurt senior sister Miao. A young man behind Miao Nu stopped Yang Wu and shouted an alarm. Let's kill him together. Another young man also rushed out. Following that, basically all the disciples of the Sacred Flame sect moved out. Other than Toobanasoa and Zhu Ruobian, they formed an encirclement around Yang Wu. Many attacks enveloped Yang Wu. These were all outer disciples of the Sacred Flame sect. They were all geniuses. The threat of many of their attacks was even more terrifying than a barbarian army of 100 to 200 people. With the celestial armor, I can go all out. Yang Wu thought to himself as he sensed these attacks. He drew his iron saber and charged forward boldly. These concentrated attacks still had many flaws in his eyes. Moreover, he was powerful enough. If he attacked with all his might, who could stop these people? Galloping horse saber. The 2 people at the front were chopped into 2 halves by Yang Wu's blade. His blade's momentum did not decrease, and in the midst of the chaos, it was constantly changing. No one was able to block the powerful, profound chi, and several people let out blood-curdling screams as they directly fell into a pool of blood. Yang Wu wanted to practice his galloping horse saber. The 20 people in front of him became his whetstone. After a while, these people were all defeated by Yang Wu. None of them could withstand a single blow. Let me do it. Juruobian finally could not watch any longer. She gently stroked her pipa and said, without waiting for Tooba Nasoa to speak, the sound of the pipa was already heard. A pleasant sound entered Yongwu's ears. Yongwu immediately felt dizzy. Meow meow, kill him. Juruobian shouted at the uninjured Meow Nu yes. After the Meow Nu responded, a sharp glint flashed past her eyes. She held a short dagger and stabbed it toward Yongwu's heart. Just as the short dagger was about to pierce Yongwu's heart, Yongwu suddenly raised his iron saber and slashed at the Meow Nu's arm. Chapter 121. Meow Nu thought that Yongwu had been bewitched by Zhuruo Hong's pipa music and would not react in a short period of time. She was very clear about this. Moreover, the moment Yongwu was absent-minded, she had already made her move quickly. She did not intend to give Yongwu any chance at all. However, she never expected that Yongwu would come back to his senses in an instant and directly cut off one of her arms. The bloody arm fell to the ground. It was a ghastly sight. Meow Nu covered her wound and screamed as she retreated. Her face was full of horror. She looked at Yongwu and already regarded him as a devil killer. Yongwu did not give her a chance to escape at all. The other party clearly wanted to kill her just now. How could he be merciful to her? He swung his iron saber furiously and directly cut off Meow Nu's head. How dare you? Zhuruo Hong was completely enraged. She cried out involuntarily. I underestimated this kid. He's definitely not someone from the mortal world. Tooba Nasua said with a gloomy face. He's really too manly. Huangfu Mingyu looked at Yongwu, who did not show any mercy to the fairer sex, and said with a look of infatuation. She did not have the consciousness of being a captive at all. After Yongwu beheaded Meow Nu, he looked at Zhuruo Hong and Tooba Nasua excitedly and said, if you want to kill me, just bring it on. Don't be a coward. Yongwu's battle blood was boiling. He still wanted to continue practicing. Zhuruo Hong and Tooba Nasua were better opponents. He could feel that their auras were even more powerful. Go to hell. After Zhuruo Hong roared, she grabbed the pipa and was about to play a real killing move. However, she was stopped by Tooba Nasua. He said, let me do it. I'll avenge the deaths of so many junior brothers and sisters one by one. With that, he strode toward Yongwu, releasing the power of the advanced general realm from his body. The 3 layers of thick, profound armor were clearly visible. Yongwu had encountered many generals before, but none of them had profound armor as thick as Tooba Nasua's. From this, it could be seen that Tooba Nasua's foundation was stronger than any general he had encountered. A formidable opponent. These 2 words appeared in Yongwu's mind, and the fighting spirit on his face became even more intense. Young Master Naso, don't fail miserably. This kid's foundation isn't bad. Luo Hanshao couldn't help but remind Tooba Naso. As a king, he didn't interfere with the young people's battle. He cared more about Tooba Nasua and Zhuruo Hong's lives. He didn't care if the others died. This was why he hadn't made a move yet. Don't worry. If I can't even take him down, I won't have the face to return to the Sacred Flame sect. Tooba Nasua's golden hair fluttered as he spoke confidently. Then, he raised his golden halberd and pointed at Yongwu, saying, Kid, I see that your talent isn't bad. Stay by my side and be my retainer. Heh. Even if you're my retainer, I'll despise you for being too ugly. Yongwu sneered in response. It looks like you've lost your last chance at survival. Then I'll send you on your way. After Tooba Nasua spoke faintly, he leapt to within 10 meters of Yongwu. He formed a fist with his free hand and punched at Yongwu. Savage Beast Fist. This was the unique fist technique of the barbarian race. However, only the members of the royal family could practice it. Ordinary barbarians could only practice the barbarian elephant, barbarian bull, and other fist techniques which were derived from the barbarian beast fist. Their power was far inferior to the barbarian beast fist. When Tooba Nasua punched out, it was like 100 beasts were roaring. The power was quite domineering. The air was pushed away by the pressure. It was like a yellow storm that wanted to tear Yongwu apart. When an expert attacked, one would know if they were good or not. After Yang Wu felt Tooba Nasua's attack, his muscles bulged. Strands of power went berserk in his meridians. He also punched out. Soldier Fist. This was a battle technique that couldn't be any simpler. However, when he used this battle technique, Yang Wu felt the power in his body flow very smoothly. He could use 100% of his strength. Bang! A muffled explosion rang out. It was like a sudden clap of thunder, deafening everyone. Neither of them retreated. They both stood in place and maintained their punching posture. It was obvious that they were evenly matched. Interesting. Tooba Nasua sneered and punched out again. His momentum was much higher. Several beasts appeared behind him. There were elephants, bulls, tigers. Yang Wu's mental power was focused, and the battle diagrams on the battle skill steel appeared in his mind. Straight punch, hook punch, whip punch. Every fist technique mobilized all the muscles in his body, stretching every strand of strength in his body. It was as if an indescribable concept was being generated from his body. The fists of the two men collided again and again. Every punch was enough to cause the mountains to crumble and the earth to crack. Sand and stones flew everywhere. It was extremely shocking. In a few blinks of an eye, the two of them had exchanged no less than 100 punches. They were evenly matched. Tooba Nasua's face gradually became even uglier. He had already used 80% of his battle prowess, yet he was still unable to suppress Yang Wu. This was something he could not accept. Yang Wu did not seem to be using his full strength either. This little bastard's strength is even stronger than my first layer brute force. Looks like I have to take him seriously. Tooba Nasua thought to himself. As for Yang Wu, he didn't think too much about it. After listening to Little Hei's reminder, he strengthened the use of the soldier fist. The more he fought, the more he realized how extraordinary the soldier fist was. It looked very simple, but it could be an effective and powerful attack. Unfortunately, he felt that something was missing. He couldn't grasp the true meaning of the soldier fist. First layer brute force. Second layer brute force. Tooba Nasua increased his strength to the second layer. His body grew taller, his muscles expanded, and his strength increased. His body formed a Xian armor of brute force, which increased Tooba Nasua's defense by a level. It was no weaker than Yang Wu's Xian armor. When he punched again, the strength of his fist instantly doubled. I'll kill you with one punch. Tooba Nasua roared in shock. Savage Beast Fist's Raging Bull soars the sky. A terrifying raging bull suddenly appeared. It charged at Yang Wu with all its strength. Its sharp horns were enough to pierce the sky. You can't. Yang Wu gave a simple response. His 12 main meridians and 6 strange meridians were all twitching, and his 455 acupoints formed a vast sea of stars. The power in his peach core Dantian exploded, and the power of his fist was once again unleashed. This fist was still a very simple soldier fist, but it suddenly allowed him to combine the 1-inch punch and the 1-inch punch to explode. The two fists collided again. They were still evenly matched. This time, Tooba Nasua couldn't take it anymore. He shouted angrily, I don't believe you can continue to block my punches. Tooba Nasua punched 12 times. One punch was like a raging bull, one was like a raging tiger, and one was like a raging elephant. 12 beasts appeared one after another. They gathered the strongest brute force. Their strength was much stronger than Yang Wu's Aurora. Both of them were at the second layer of awakened brute force. They were at the same level, but their strength was worlds apart. Yang Wu also punched 12 times. The power of the inch punch was also superimposed on the soldier fist. Between the two fist skills, the inch punch was a soldier's skill, while the soldier fist was a soldier's skill. But now, the soldier fist was the dominant one. It was unbelievable. Unfortunately, the strength of Yang Wu's inch punch was still lacking. He was beaten back by Tooba Nasua. With every step he took back, a deep pit was formed in the ground. Sand and rocks flew around him, and trees collapsed. Tooba Nasua finally smiled proudly. He shouted, Let's see how many more attacks you can block. Yang Wu, on the other hand, continued to fight calmly. He countered every move, allowing the inch punch to quickly integrate into the soldier fist. The power of the soldier fist was increasing, and a vague inspiration once again emerged. He felt that the soldier fist was the source of the 100 fists. No matter what kind of fist technique it was inseparable from the changes of the soldier fist. Finally, all these fist techniques could be integrated into the soldier fist and finally achieve the goal of turning simplicity into complexity. Unfortunately, Yang Wu didn't know much about fist techniques, so he couldn't fuse them with a stronger fist technique. Therefore, the strength of the soldier fist was limited. He muttered in his heart, "This barbarian is the best whetstone." Yang Wu changed his fist skills to palm skills. He used the mountain-shattering palm repeatedly. This was the mountain-shattering palm that had reached the great mastery stage. Its power was not ordinary. In addition, he also used his flying leg to kick. He used both his leg and palm. A series of combined attacks finally slowed down Tooba Nasua's attacks. Tooba Nasua was depressed. He did not expect Yang Wu to be so difficult to deal with. He finally lost his patience. He waved his golden halberd and aimed it at Yang Wu's vital points. After Dao Banana used Suo Wu's battle weapon, he could be considered to have truly gone all out. With the addition of brute force, the halberd light's might was extremely powerful. It was able to directly cause traces of cracks to appear on Yang Wu's profound armor, and the shock caused Yang Wu's blood to churn. "Kill!" Tooba Nasua shouted with a murderous aura. Many halberd lights were sharp and overbearing. They covered an area of dozens of feet, wreaking havoc everywhere. He originally thought that would be easy to kill Yang Wu. However, Yang Wu could still block it with his bare hands. Even if he looked a little embarrassed, he did not suffer any fatal injuries. "Is this all you've got? You've really disappointed this Viscount." Yang Wu moved nimbly. As he dodged Tooba Nasua's attacks, he continued to counterattack, causing Tooba Nasua to be greatly affected. Yang Wu's comprehension of the fist, palm, and leg combat skills was becoming more and more perfect. He was progressing towards the perfect stage. The might of Xian Qi in each of his moves was no less than 150 cauldrons. This was a terrifying power that was enough to move a small hill. "Senior brother, let me help you." Zhu Ruohong could not watch any longer. She picked up the pipa and began to play. Ding dong, ding dong. The pipa sound was very impassioned. When it entered Tooba Nasua's ears, it was as if it had stimulated his potential. In an instant, his brute force exploded even more terrifyingly. "Aha! Thank you, junior sister Zhu. I'll give his head to you." Tooba Nasua laughed. The halberd fell, and the power that fell turned into a golden lion. It roared and tore through the mountains and rivers. The power of this halberd doubled, reaching 200 cauldrons of strength. It was truly terrifying. Yang Wu did not expect Tooba Nasua's strength to become so strong in an instant. Before he could change his move, Tooba Nasua's attack hit him. His Xian armor instantly shattered. Puff. Chapter 122. Yang Wu was sent flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth like a fountain. His body flew over 100 feet away, and a thick layer of dust immediately rose from the ground. Tooba Nasua lowered his golden halberd and sped up to chase after Yang Wu. The golden halberd drew a burst of fierce sparks on the ground, and a lot of gravel flew out. A halberd light drew a semicircle and cut toward Yang Wu, who was lying on the ground, in an attempt to kill him in one fell swoop. When the power of the semicircle fell on Yang Wu's head, Yang Wu flipped over like a carp and bounced up. He kicked out with his leg and blocked the power of the halberd. Unfortunately, it was still not enough. The halberd power shattered the leg light and continued to slash forward, leaving a bone-deep mark on Yang Wu's leg. Blood flowed out rapidly. "You're really a cockroach that can't be killed," Tooba Nasua said. He waved his golden halberd again, and the halberd light turned into a lion once again. Its combat strength was still domineering and powerful. Zhu Ruohong played the pipa more and more urgently. Tooba Nasua's strength continued to increase, as if it had reached the limit of the general realm. Yang Wu did not dare to be careless. He had to use his most powerful move, the Dragon Turtle Sea Turning skill. This time, Yang was pleasantly surprised when he activated the dragon turtle sea turning skill. Even he himself did not expect that the shadow of the demon turtle in his bloodline had a natural affinity with this move. It allowed him to finally enter the microscopic stage of this powerful move. He seemed to have turned into a demon turtle and displayed the power of this move. With Yang Wu as the center, sand and dust filled the air. It was as if the waves were reversing. An extremely powerful wave of power burst out from the demon turtle's body. After the two powerful moves collided with each other, an earth-shattering explosion immediately occurred. Everything within 60 meters was in a mess. Two completely different kinds of xianqi splashed in all directions. The boys and girls who had not been killed by Yang Wu fled one after another, for fear of being affected by such a terrifying power. When the two forces dissipated, both of them were sent flying. Tuobanasawa's brute force had been shattered by Yang Wu. One of his shoulders was shattered, and there was a dent in his abdomen. Blood flowed out of the two wounds. As for Yang Wu, he was not in a good state either. There were several more wounds on his body. One of his thighs was pierced by the golden halberd. Blood, blood. It was also at this moment that Zhu Ruohong suddenly changed the melody of the song, and a sonorous force was incessant. Many notes transformed into weapons that furiously attacked Yang Wu. These weapons included swords, sabers, spears, halberds. There were 18 types of weapons. They surrounded Yang Wu and launched a fierce attack. This was Zhu Ruohong's attack. She used sound to kill her enemies. Yang Wu's sense of hearing was disrupted, and the blood in his body seemed to be suppressed. Seeing these weapons coming, he actually couldn't summon up the strength to resist. This was a dual attack of sound wave suppression and attack. Fortunately, Yang Wu's mental strength was strong enough. Zhu Ruohong's melody only made him lose his mind for a very short time. When those weapons fell in front of him, he had already recovered his senses. One of his legs was still unable to move, so he could only use his iron blade to madly chop at the weapons condensed from the melody, shattering them one by one. Yang Wu shattered more than half of the sound wave attacks, but the other half still hit him. A few more bloody holes appeared on his body. He looked even more miserable. Zhu Ruohong snorted coldly. "I don't care where you come from. Today, I will tear you to pieces." This woman looked charming, but she was indeed a vicious and merciless person. She played faster and faster, and wave after wave of musical attacks crazily rushed towards Yang Wu. Tuoba retreated from the battle to heal his wounds. His shoulder injury would not recover so quickly, but he did not want Yang Wu to die at the hands of his junior sister. He had to heal his injuries as soon as possible so that he could give Yang Wu a fatal attack at any time. "Jin Tang, come here." Tuoba summoned his mount. The golden-furred lion quickly rushed over. He flipped onto the golden-furred lion's back and rode it around to Yang Wu's back. He stabbed with the golden halberd in his uninjured hand. The golden-furred lion was a demon general. Its speed was extremely ferocious. The lion's roar made Yang Wu's eardrums hurt. At the same time, Tobanasawa shouted, "Junior sister, I will take his head." He did not think that Yang Wu had any means to fight back. Under his and his junior sister's joint attack, if they could not kill this kid in front of them, he would completely admit defeat. However, when he and his mount approached Yang Wu, he suddenly felt the despair of death. His spiritual power was shrinking, and the aura on his body was instantly digested without a trace. Even Zhu Ruohong, who was not far away, was also affected, and the music stopped in an instant. Yang Wu raised his iron saber and slashed at Tuobanasawa. A 200-foot saber light, filled with the power of death, enveloped Tuobanasawa. In Yang Wu's eyes, Tuobanasawa was already a dead man. Not good. Luo Hanchao had been paying attention to the battle. When Yang Wu was about to kill Tuobanasawa, he reacted. He quickly rushed out. He definitely could not let anything happen to Tuobanasawa. However, just as he moved, the turtle demon in the pool finally moved. It quickly rushed out of the pool. Its majestic, demonic aura immediately locked onto Luo Hanchao, causing Luo Hanchao's body to instantly freeze. It was difficult for him to use the power of a king. This is a heavenly demon. Luo Hanchao cried out involuntarily. The heavenly demon realm was a powerful existence that surpassed the demon king realm. At that level, no matter where they were, they would be an overlord. Luo Hanchao was an advanced king. He was only one step away from a peak king. His combat strength was stronger than Shi Shafeng and Huang Fu Taiging. However, in front of such a heavenly demon, he did not dare to have the slightest bit of courage. At this moment, Yang Wu's iron saber had mercilessly cut Tuoba Nasaw and his golden-furred lion in half. The terrifying saber light even left a deep mark that was dozens of feet long on the ground. Zhu Ruohong was so scared that her face turned pale. Not only did she feel the powerful demonic aura, but also because of Yang Wu's decisive killing. It made her shudder. She felt as if she had walked on the edge of death just now. Let's go. Luo Hanchao was worthy of being a high-rank king. He quickly broke free from the demon tortoise's pressure, unleashed his full strength, and shot towards Zhu Ruohong with extreme speed. He pulled her with one hand, released the profound wings on his body, and soared into the sky. He no longer cared about the lives of the others. After the demon turtle roared, it was about to chase after Luo Hanchao when Little Hei's voice rang out. That's enough. There's no need to care about a small fry like that. If Luo Hanchao could hear Little Hei's words, he would probably kill himself. He was an advanced king. Even in the Sacred Flame sect, he had a certain status. However, he was actually called a small fry by a Little Hei dog. She was simply looking down on him. In fact, Little Hei really did not care about him. Otherwise, why would the demon turtle listen to her obediently? Luo Hanchao fled. The Sacred Flame sect disciples who were still alive were scared out of their wits. They were genius-level youths and future kings. They did not want to die here. They scrambled toward the forest and did not dare to stay any longer. Little Hei did not care about them at all. Yang Wu was also not in the mood to chase after them. He withdrew his death intent and began to circulate his celestial qi to heal his injuries. These youths are so powerful. If I had not gone through the first extreme tempering, I might not be their match. Yang Wu thought to himself. Huang Fu Taiging and Huang Fu Mingyu, who were not far away, were already stunned by Yang Wu's performance. They knew that even if they were at the same level as those youths from the Sacred Flame sect, they might not be much stronger than them. Not only did Yang Wu kill them all by himself, but he also killed an inner-sect disciple genius. Moreover, Yang Wu was only a top-notch warrior. This was simply heaven-defying. With such talent, no matter which Nation Guardian faction it was, they would fight to take him in. Ayu, what do you think of him? Huang Fu Taiging asked softly. Huang Fu Taiging could see that Huang Fu Mingyu had feelings for Yang Wu. However, he did not think that the two of them would be together. Now, however, he had to ask seriously. If Huang Fu Mingyu really had such thoughts, he might have to do something. Huang Fu Mingyu's face turned red as she replied, "He's the strongest warrior." The strongest warrior was the most revered person among the barbarians. He was the favorite of the girls. Her words also represented her thoughts. That's right. He's the strongest warrior. He's worthy of Princess Yu, Huang Fu Taiging said with certainty. But he's not fated to belong to me, Huang Fu Mingyu said sadly. Our Princess Yu is so beautiful. Who wouldn't like her? As long as you persevere, your dream will definitely come true, Huang Fu Taiging said encouragingly. Will it really work? Outside the mountain range, Shi Shafeng led an army of 3,000 and quickly rushed over. In the center of this army was the barbarian tribe's chief, Huang Fu Zhanxiong. He was riding on a golden lion. His entire body was glowing with golden light, and the aura of an emperor was awe-inspiring. Suddenly, Huang Fu Zhanxiong acted as if he was facing a great enemy. Dense Xian Qi burst out from his body as he shouted, "Everyone, stop and prepare to face the enemy." Shi Shafeng instantly rose into the air. He spread his Xian wings and locked onto the front. There were also two people silently guarding Huang Fu Zhanxiong. Sacred Fire Sect's Deacon Luo Hanchao is here. Who dares to stop me? The person who was rushing over from the distance exclaimed. When that person finished speaking, Huangfu Zhanxiong panicked and spread his xian wings to fly up. He cupped his hands and said, "So it's Deacon Luo. I've been rude. I don't have time to care about you." Luo Hanshao shouted as he carried Zhu Ruo home and flew over quickly. Huangfu Zhanxiong and Shi Shafeng were so frightened that they quickly moved aside. When Luo Hanshao was far away, Shi Shafeng landed in front of Huangfu Zhanxiong and said, "Your Majesty, this person is too rude. Maybe he's a little impatient." Huangfu Zhanxiong said with dissatisfaction. In any case, he was the head of the barbarian tribe. Luo Hanshao did not give him face and looked like he was looking for a place to settle some dirty matters. It was really detestable. Of course, Huangfu Zhanxiong did not know that Luo Hanshao was so frightened by the person they were going to meet. If he knew, he, the king, would not have dared to go in personally. Chapter 123. Beside the pool, Yang Wu stood under the waterfall and was once again attacked by the waterfall. Yang Wu's consumed strength recovered extremely quickly in a place where the water xian energy was rich. This was not only because he had undergone the second extreme body tempering, but also because he had absorbed the essence of the demon turtle's water-suppressing stance to the microscopic stage. The speed of absorbing the water xian energy was much faster. This was the fundamental reason. It was also because of the improvement of the dragon turtle's water-suppressing stance that Yang Wu stood under the waterfall more firmly. He was simply coiled up on the ground and stood firm despite the wind and rain. Under the attack of this water power, Yang Wu's body also underwent a great change. The thousands of holes in his dantian exploded, and the power in his meridians and acupoints was rapidly circulating. In an instant, dozens of hidden acupoints were broken through, and a powerful force was released from his body. The waterfall that was rushing down was blocked by the force on his body, and there was no way for it to fall down. After a full quarter of an hour, the aura on Yang Wu's body dissipated, and the water of the waterfall once again poured down from above. Yang Wu was attacked by the water. The terrifying force no longer made him feel uncomfortable. Instead, it was as if he was bathing in a hot spring. His whole body was comfortable and calm, and every part of his body was in the most wonderful state. Vaguely, he felt that he was incomparably close to the water power. This kind of continuous impact made him feel that the power of the water was melodious and powerful and could erupt with the power of thunder. If the rainstorm spear technique, wave splitting palm, and dragon turtle sea turning technique could all be infused into this overbearing impact, the power would be incomparably powerful. Thinking of this, the power in Yang Wu's body began to stir. His palms were filled with power, and he slapped them towards the sky. Two spinning water dragons instantly broke out of the water, and the entire waterfall seemed to fly up. This amazing scene made people gasp in amazement. Yang Wu rushed out of the waterfall and stepped directly on the surface of the pool. His footsteps were light, and he actually floated on the surface of the water instead of falling down. Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu both saw this scene. They no longer knew how to describe Yang Wu's outstanding talent. Even those in the general realm could only rely on their strength to directly jump over the pool. However, there were probably only a few people who could step on the water like Yang Wu and not sink into the water. This requirement was extraordinarily high. The reason why Yang Wu was able to reach this stage was definitely related to the dragon turtle water suppressing stance. Now, he was very clear that the more he was on the water, the more the dragon turtle water suppressing stance's power could be unleashed, especially after absorbing the essence blood of the demon tortoise. When Yang Wu returned to the shore, he looked at Huangfu Taiging and Huangfu Mingyu with a bright smile on his face and said, "The person I've been waiting for is finally here. Perhaps I can return your freedom today." "Little brother, can we have a chat?" Huangfu Taiging asked. "What do you have to say?" Yang Wu was in a good mood and was willing to listen to what Huangfu Taiging had to say. "Little brother, I know a little about physiognomy. I see that you are born with the appearance of a noble. Unfortunately, There are dark clouds in your glabella right now. You must have fallen from grace and fallen for grace. However, there is also purple chi floating within. It shouldn't take long for the dark clouds to disperse, and a hidden dragon will rise to the heavens. You are indescribably noble, but the purple chi also contains a dense blood chi. Before you ascend to the heavens, I'm afraid you will encounter a great calamity, Huangfu Taigung said bluntly. When Yang Wu heard this, he felt that Huangfu Taigung really had some information. It was impossible for Huangfu Taigung to know his background. To be able to guess it right away, at least he wasn't an old swindler. Yang Wu said, "Then, do you want to say that I won't be able to survive that great calamity?" Huangfu Taigung shook his head gently and said, "Of course not. I want to say that I have a way to avoid this great calamity. Moreover, I can reach the heavens in one step and save a lot of trouble." "Let's hear it," Yang Wu said disapprovingly. "You also know that she is the princess of the barbarian tribe. As long as you become the prince consort of the barbarian tribe and receive the full support of the barbarian tribe, everything will be easily solved," Huangfu Taigung said solemnly. Beside him, Huangfu Mingyu's beautiful eyes rippled with anticipation as she looked at Yang Wu. A trace of red appeared on her face, but she didn't show much shyness. Her fondness for Yang Wu was self-evident. Yang Wu glanced at Huangfu Mingyu and revealed an evil smile. "Haha, so you want me to marry her? This idea sounds good." After a pause, he added, "Unfortunately, with her little beauty, it doesn't seem to be enough for me to be a traitor." Huangfu Mingyu said somewhat angrily and shyly, "What do you mean? I'm a noble princess. How am I not worthy of you?" After saying that, she even stuck out her well-developed body. Her proud breasts were on the verge of popping out. Her handsome face was very attractive. She was definitely a first-rate beauty. Yang Wu looked at Huangfu Mingyu's actions and couldn't help but think of the person in his heart. He remembered that the little slug was always mocked by him for having no breasts or buttocks. That little slug always stuck out her body like this and asked Yang Wu to check her body. Yang Wu didn't hold back and went to check her body. After a while, the two of them inexplicably developed feelings for each other. That year, he was only 13 and she was only 12. In the Great Xia Empire, there were many people who got married at the age of 14 or 15. They were already considered young adults at the age of 12 or 13. They could even get engaged first. Unfortunately, before they could do so, the two of them were forced to separate. "You, wait for me. Within 3 years, I will definitely go and marry you." Yang Wu secretly swore in his heart. "Little brother, have you heard of Shui Gui?" Huangfu Taigung's words interrupted Yang Wu's thoughts. Yang Wu immediately snorted and said, "How could I not have heard of the shame of our Great Xia Empire? 10 years ago, when the Great Xia Empire and the barbarian race were at war, Shui Gui, one of the top 10 kings of the Great Xia Empire, rebelled and became an honored guest of the barbarian race. Although he didn't kill any of the warriors or generals of the Great Xia Empire, his betrayal greatly reduced the overall combat power of the Great Xia Empire. As a result, the Great Xia Empire was almost defeated. At the same time, many people were injured or killed. Shui Gui was called the shame of the Great Xia Empire. Yang Wu had heard about this matter from his family. Naturally, he felt that Shui Gui was a rather shameless person. The Great Xia Empire only knows that Shui Gui is a person who deserves to die. In fact, the barbarian race regards him as the strongest warrior and is respected by all of us, Huangfu Taigung replied. After a pause, he added, "A man whose entire family was executed by the emperor of the Great Xia Empire can still maintain the fact that he didn't kill a single soldier of the Great Xia Empire. Don't you feel respect for such a warrior?" "Haha, a traitor deserves to have all 9 generations of his family executed," Yang Wu replied with a cold smile. Just as Huangfu Taigung was about to respond, Huangfu Zhanxiong, Shi Shafeng, and the others had already quietly appeared not far away from them. Huangfu Zhanxiong rode his golden lion over and said, "Indeed, it should be so. However, the emperor of the Great Xia Empire doesn't know what's right and wrong. He listened to the words of a treacherous villain and thought that Shui Gui had the intention to betray the great Xia Empire. In fact, he didn't know that Shui Gui was a good person. He only let a pregnant woman of my race go because he couldn't bear to hurt the woman and the child. Because of this, they suspected that the woman of my race had an affair with Shui Gui. Unfortunately, Shui Gui's momentary benevolence caused the emperor of the great Xia Empire to execute his entire family. "Who are you?" Yang Wu had long noticed the arrival of Huangfu Zhanxiong and Shi Shafeng. He cast a sidelong glance at them and asked, "Who are you? How dare you? Why aren't you kneeling down to greet our emperor?" A warrior behind Huangfu Zhanxiong shouted rudely at Yang Wu. "It seems that you're not here to give me compensation." Yang Wu's gaze became sharp as he said. The warrior wanted to speak again, but Huangfu Zhanxiong waved his hand to stop him. Then, he said to Yang Wu, "We're here to ransom them. Let them go. We brought all the things you want." After saying that, he glanced to Shi Shafeng. Shi Shafeng then said to the people behind him, "Bring all the things up." Immediately after, several people came down from the giant tusk elephant and carried the packages and boxes from the giant tusk elephant. They brought the things to the front and opened them. In an instant, many boxes containing low-grade mysterious crystals emitted a dazzling light. Bursts of rich qi rushed into this world, dazzling everyone's eyes. There were also herbs, gold, silver, jewelry, and so on. It was an astonishing amount of wealth. These were basically the compensation brought over according to Yang Wu's request. There were even many more things. Here are 50,000 low-grade Xian spirit stones, 50 million gold coins, and 5 million worth of jewels. There are also spirit herbs and old herbs. There are also the battle techniques and secret manuals that you great Xia people cultivate. These are additional compensation. You can count them and then release my daughter and eighth uncle. Huangfu Zhanxiong said very calmly. He was indeed the leader of a clan. This boldness was not something that ordinary people could compare to. If it were someone else who took out this amount of wealth, they would be heartbroken. Why would they add on to it? Naturally, Yang Wu would not count them. He just scanned with his divine sense. After making sure that the other party was not playing any tricks, he said, "The transaction is done. You can take them away." "Eighth uncle, you come here." Huangfu Zhanxiong did not expect Yang Wu to be so straightforward. He did not think much about it, and called out to Huangfu Taigang and Huangfu Mingyu. Huangfu Zhanxiong did not dare to act rashly just because Yang Wu appeared here alone. He had heard from Shi Shafeng that there was a heavenly demon turtle here. They could not deal with an existence of that level. He did not want to cause trouble. Huangfu Taigang and Huangfu Mingyu walked back to Huangfu Zhanxiong. After Huangfu Taigang walked halfway, he turned back to Yang Wu and said, "Don't you plan to ask Lord Demon Turtle to help me unseal the seal on my body? Are you sure you want it to be unsealed?" "I don't care if it will be heavy-handed," Yang Wu said with a faint smile. Huangfu Taigang looked at Yang Wu's smile and instantly dispelled that idea. He was really afraid that the demon turtle would appear and directly kill him. Huangfu Mingyu went in front of Yang Wu and looked straight at Yang Wu. She said, "If I meet you again, I will definitely make you my man." After saying that, she turned around and ran towards her father in a carefree manner. Yang Wu could have set off on his return journey with peace of mind. However, Little Hayes said with a voice transmission, "Don't let them go yet. I have something to ask them. I found a clue to the soul-type medicine king." Chapter 124. Little Hayes saw the soul-touch vine among the herbs that Huangfu Zhanxiong had brought. The soul-touch vine in front of them was rather young and could only be considered an old herb. It could not even be considered a spiritual herb. However, it knew very well that once it matured, it could become a king-tier herb. The soul-touch vine was the key ingredient to restore Skinny Monkey. This was also the reason why Little Hay asked Yang Wu to stop Huangfu Zhanxiong. "Wait!" Yang Wu stopped Huangfu Zhanxiong and the others. Then, he walked forward and took out the soul-touch vine from an open jade box. He asked, "Where did you get this soul-touch vine?" Huangfu Zhanxiong was stunned for a moment before saying, "This herb was contributed by the people below. I don't know where they got it from. Is there a problem?" Yang Wu said in a deep voice, "Go and ask where it came from. I can undo the taboo seal on him." Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't want to do so, because the taboo seal on him is an ancient taboo. No one can undo it easily. If you forcefully undo it, your entire body will collapse and you will die. Not bad, kid. You actually know how to trick people. Little Hei's divine sense transmitted its voice again. Now, it was not on Yang Wu's shoulder. Instead, it was hiding in a tree. No one could discover its existence. Even so, it was still able to see everything below at a glance. Huang Fu Taiging's old face became gloomy. He was just thinking about going back to find someone to break the taboo seal. Now, it seemed that was not the case. He knew very well that there were indeed some powerful taboo seals that required special methods to undo. Huang Fu Zhanxiong felt Huang Fu Taiging's strange behavior. He did not waste time talking to Yang Wu and asked the people behind him, who knows where the soul touch vine came from? He did not have much hope. The source of these herbs might not have been contributed by the 3,000 people in front of him. Fortunately, his luck was good. There were people who knew where the soul touch vine came from. One person came down from his horse and quickly knelt in front of Huang Fu Zhanxiong. He said, "Your Majesty, I know where the soul touch vine is." "Then hurry up and tell him where you came from," Huang Fu Zhanxiong said straightforwardly. Huang Fu Taiging said from the side, "Little brother, are you looking for the soul touch vine to save your brother?" "It's good that you know," Yang Wu said in a deep voice. "You are a man who values friendship and righteousness." Huang Fu Taiging said with a deep nod. He then said to the general, "Speak in detail. Don't leave anything out." The general immediately said to Yang Wu, "The soul touch vine was found 50 kilometers south of here, near a swamp forest. There are many poisonous creatures there, so it's very difficult to go deep." "All right, old tortoise, come out and remove the taboo on him," Yang Wu shouted at the pool. Then, old tortoise appeared again. The barbarian army immediately acted as if they were facing a great enemy. They were afraid that old tortoise would suddenly attack their king. Huang Fu Zhanxiong looked at old tortoise, and his eyes flashed with a bright light. He muttered, "So this is a heavenly demon. It would be great if it could become the heavenly demon protector of my tribe." The demon tortoise's senses were extremely sharp. His bell-sized eyes landed on Huang Fu Xiongzhan. That great aura made Huang Fu Xiongzhan feel a great pressure. The people around him surrounded him, layer after layer, blocking his side. Old tortoise did not make things difficult for Huang Fu Zhanxiong. It violently removed the taboo on Huang Fu Taiging. Pa! Pa! Huang Fu Taiging's body exploded, and the taboo seals were all broken. This method of removing the seals was not as special as Yang Wu said, but it made Huang Fu Taiging suffer a lot. His body was blasted with blood from the power of the seals. If he was not already a king, this wave of power was enough to kill him. "All right, you can leave now. I won't send you off," Yang Wu said as he waved his hand like he was swatting away flies. The barbarians looked at the rude Yang Wu and felt a ball of fire in their hearts. However, no one dared to act rashly here. That hill-like old tortoise was too terrifying. "Let's go." Huang Fu Zhanxiong looked deeply at Yang Wu and quickly left with his people. After they left, 8 riders appeared in the sky above Yang Wu's position. These 8 riders were all riding large eagles. As they galloped high in the sky, they threw things down from their bodies. "Playing tricks." Yang Wu sensed it very quickly and looked up as he muttered, "Playing tricks. Old tortoise, block those things." Little Hei's hair stood on end as he exclaimed. Old tortoise reacted immediately. It was a heavenly demon, and its methods were beyond the imagination of ordinary people. An invisible force was produced and blocked the sky above this world, blocking the things that were thrown down. Rumble, rumble. Terrifying explosions rang out non-stop, and sparks burst out one after another in the air. Several nearby mountains were directly blown apart by this powerful force, and the terrifying destructive power shocked all directions. The spirit demons and wild beasts within a radius of tens of miles were so frightened that they shrank back. The destructive power was too shocking and terrifying. Huang Fu Zhanxiong, Huang Fu Taiging, and Huang Fu Mingyu, who had already walked far away, naturally sensed the situation in that direction. The latter two revealed shocked expressions as they sensed that the direction of the explosion was exactly where they had just left. All right, Ayu, we can go back now. Huangfu Zhanxiong's face did not have the slightest bit of abnormality as he gently said to his daughter. He descended from his golden lion and gave it to his daughter. A pair of golden, profound wings appeared on his body as he prepared to leave at full speed. Father, you used the fire lightning seed? Huangfu Mingyu asked her father. Yes, he dared to kidnap my precious daughter. How could I let him go so easily? Huangfu Zhanxiong softly replied. After a pause, he said, Let's go. That heavenly demon might not die, but that brat will definitely die. As the king of a clan, Huangfu Zhanxiong was definitely not a kind person. His daughter had been kidnapped, and if he did not respond at all, then where would his dignity as the clan leader be? For some reason, Huangfu Mingyu felt a wave of pain in her heart. She did not wish for Yang Wu to die, but she was very clear on the power of the fire lightning seed. Even a king would be blown to death, let alone Yang Wu, who was not a king yet. The fire lightning seed was refined using profound spirit stones, fire stones, and Yao cores. It was a terrifying killing weapon, and once it was detonated, its power was immeasurable. It was not easy to create the fire lightning seed, and no one in the secular world could create it. Only those forces in the transcendent realm could refine it. Huangfu Zhanxiong used such a killing weapon, and it was obvious that he wanted to kill Yang Wu. As long as Yang Wu died, he believed that heavenly demon would not dare to rashly enter their barbarian tribe. Their barbarian tribe was not to be trifled with. Just as they were about to leave, a powerful force shot into the sky, and several water pillars shot into the sky like sharp blades, instantly hitting the 8 riders that were flying far away. Those flying eagles didn't even have time to cry out before they were bombarded and turned into a pool of blood. Rumbling sounds could be heard not far away, and the power it created was not inferior to the explosion of the fire lightning seed. Not good, let's go. Huangfu Taiging cried out involuntarily. Let's go. Huangfu Zhanxiong also showed a panicked expression. He brought Huangfu Mingyu back to the barbarian tribe at full speed. The 3,000 barbarian army retreated at full speed, and no one dared to stop. On the other side of the pool, Yang Wu was not dead. He was probably scared out of his wits. If the demon tortoise had not fully activated its defensive ability in time, Yang Wu would have been blown into pieces and would not have been able to survive. This could be seen from the surrounding mountains that were treated as flat ground. At the same time, if other heavenly demons were here, they might not be able to protect Yang Wu because there were not many spirit demons that could compare with the demon tortoise's defensive ability. What a decisive and ruthless barbarian king. Old tortoise, kill it. Yang Wu shouted angrily. Don't act rashly. It's not the only old demon in this mountain range. There are other old demons. They have already sensed the commotion. If they are angered, there will be a lot of trouble. It's time to leave this place, Little Hay said. They're lucky, Yang Wu said unwillingly. He then said, they probably won't be coming back. I'll stay here and cultivate for a few more days. I feel like I can improve very quickly here. Do you really think you can improve in a place without water? Little Hay asked. Yang Wu replied, Isn't that the case? Nonsense, of course not. Little Hay replied politely. Then it said, You've already gone through 2 rounds of extreme tempering, but it's still not enough. You need to complete 7 rounds of tempering. There are still a lot of medicinal ingredients to find. You need to temper yourself further. Besides, don't you want Shouho to recover as soon as possible? That's right. Shouho's matter is more important. Let's hurry and leave. Yang Wu reacted and cried out in alarm. Shouho was being cared for by Little Hay. He would not die, but he had not woken up. If this continued, his body would collapse. Thus, they had to help him recover as soon as possible. The soul-contacting Vine King herb was the target they needed to find. Only then would they be able to refine the soul-contacting pill and help Shouho recover. Just like that, Yang Wu carried Shouho on his back. He wanted to ask the demon tortoise to take them to the swamp, but Little Hay stopped him and said, What do you need this old tortoise for? With him around, what's the point of tempering yourself? Old tortoise, Hurry up and give me that thing in your pool. This immortal emperor is leaving. Yes, immortal emperor. The old tortoise did not dare to resist at all. It quickly retreated back into the pool. After a while, it reappeared and spat out a king herb to Little Hay. Daffodil. The daffodil was a type of medicinal herb that grew underwater. It absorbed the essence of the water and contained extremely dense water, profound energy. Once ingested, even a general realm cultivator's strength would increase explosively. It would be a piece of cake for them to break through 1 or 2 levels. It could even increase the chances of a peak general realm cultivator breaking through to the immortal emperor realm by 10 to 20%. It also had an extremely powerful healing effect and an affinity for water profound energy. Yang Wu's eyes turned red as he looked at it, but Little Hay had already put it away. He could only say to the old tortoise, "Old tortoise, you have a king herb for Little Hay, but you don't have one for me? Are you looking down on this, Viscount?" The old tortoise had no choice but to spit out a pearl. It spoke in human language. "I feel that you have an affinity with my clan. I'll give you this profound water pearl that I nurtured." Chapter 125. The profound water pearl was a special pearl condensed by the demon turtle using profound water chi. It had the effects of nourishing, tempering, affinity with profound water chi, repelling water, and strengthening profound chi. This was a profound water pearl nurtured by a heavenly demon. Even a king would be envious of it. The fact that the demon turtle gave it to Yang Wu was enough to prove that it regarded Yang Wu in a special light. Yang Wu held this azure-colored profound water pearl as if he had obtained a treasure. A warm and moist energy rippled in the hollow of his palm, and he immediately felt a moist feeling in the surroundings. This was the profound water force. As long as he circulated the highest 9 profound arts to absorb it, he would be able to increase his strength. This was much faster than before. "Thank you, old tortoise," Yang Wu said sincerely to the demon turtle. "No need to thank me. When you become a peerless expert in the future, don't forget about old tortoise." Old tortoise replied. "All right, stop dawdling. Let's go," Little Hay said impatiently. Yang Wu waved at old tortoise and carried Shou Ho on his back. He then followed Little Hay in a certain direction. This time, their goal was to find the Soul Touch Vine King. Before heading in the direction that the barbarian general had mentioned, Yang Wu returned to the territory of the demon wolves and took out some barbarian heads. Those were all merits. After this trip, he had collected more than 500 barbarian heads. It was enough for him to get rid of his current identity. Next, he had to save Shou Ho and quickly increase his strength. He had to strive to reach the Earth-Sea realm within a year and return to King City to take back everything he had lost. After Yang Wu carried Shou Ho for a while, he said to Little Hay, "Little Hay, even if you don't let old tortoise follow me, you still have to find me a mount, right? How can I train and fight while carrying Shou Ho like this? That's your problem. As long as we don't meet a demon king, I won't help you. You're on your own," Little Hay said as she lay on Yang Wu's shoulder. Yang Wu said helplessly, "All right, I don't believe that I can't tame a mount with my current strength." As Yang Wu walked, he operated the Supreme 9 Profound Arts. The profound water bead that he kept close to his body emitted a rich energy that constantly seeped into his body, causing the power of his dantian to constantly increase. It could be said that even as he walked, Yang Wu was in a state of improvement. About 2 hours later, Yang Wu began to be attacked by ferocious beasts one after another. These ferocious beasts were not very strong. Even if Yang Wu did not put the skinny monkey down, he could still easily kick them to death. Yang Wu instructed Little Hay to roast and eat them, replenishing his energy and nourishing his body. He did not waste a single moment here. As they advanced, Little Hay constantly searched for old medicines in the surroundings. Some unknown old medicines, even those that were extremely well hidden, could not escape its senses. Every time it discovered an old medicine, it would tell Yang Wu its medicinal effects and distinguishing characteristics. This bamboo sprout grass usually grows on the side of bamboo shoots. It is very small and inconspicuous. Many people do not take it seriously, but it has the ability to stimulate blood circulation. Unfortunately, no matter how old it is, it cannot grow into a spirit medicine. Its use is limited. This thing that looks like withered grass is actually a yellow leaf grass. It has always been this color. It is a type of earth profound energy grass that can increase one's strength. Look at this small tree. It doesn't have much use, but the vines that grow under its roots are extraordinary. They can detoxify and expel cold. If they can bear fruit, they can be considered spirit fruits. Little Hay was like an encyclopedia of medicinal herbs. There was nothing it did not know. It knew the medicinal properties of every single medicinal herb like the back of its hand. This made Yang Wu feel that it was even more extraordinary. Yang Wu humbly learned. His ability to distinguish medicinal herbs rapidly improved. Sometimes he did not need Little Hay to tell him the names of medicinal herbs. 3 days quickly passed. Yang Wu and Little Hay walked for dozens of li. They were getting closer and closer to the location that the barbarian general had mentioned. Along the way, Yang Wu had benefited greatly. At the same time, he had killed dozens of wild beasts and 7 or 8 spirit demons. His understanding of battle techniques had deepened. On this day, he discovered the gathering place of a group of tiger demons. There were no less than 40 to 50 tiger demons residing here. Among them, there was one whose entire body was covered in fur that looked like burning clouds. The word king on its head was abnormally obvious. Its sharp tiger eyes were like dancing flames, and its mouth was wide open, revealing its fangs. That head was half the size of the tiger demons beside it. Astonishingly, it was a fire cloud tiger king. The king here did not refer to the fact that it had already become a demon king. Instead, it referred to the fact that it was the leader of this group of tiger demons. Yang Wu looked at this mighty fire cloud tiger king and wiped away his saliva. "I've finally found the mount I want. It's you." Yang Wu looked at these fire cloud tigers that surrounded him as if he were food. Not only was he not afraid, but he revealed an extremely fanatical expression. He put down the skinny monkey on his body and took the initiative to charge towards this group of fire cloud tigers. Little Hay stood guard by the skinny monkey's side. She quietly watched as Yang Wu displayed his might. She muttered in her heart, "This brat is showing more and more of the true colors of a powerhouse. After the 3rd extreme tempering, I'll let him spar with those demons. He still hasn't experienced enough life and death." Roar! Roar! When the fire cloud tigers saw this human charging towards them without any fear of death, they were instantly enraged. Roars rang out one after another, and a few of them pounced towards Yang Wu. Scud kick! While Yang Wu was running, his legs sprung up, and several leg shadows swept over. The leg shadows that contained a valiant power were incomparably tyrannical, and the 3 tiger demons in front of him were ruthlessly sent flying. When Yang Wu landed on the ground, 2 tiger demons bit him from the left and right. He slapped out with both his palms, and these 2 tiger demons were like 2 kittens. They were ruthlessly smashed onto the ground. Their tiger teeth were broken, and tiger blood spurted out from their mouths. The moment Yang Wu made his move, he intimidated these tiger demons. The fire cloud tiger in front roared, "Tear this human apart." These fire cloud tigers weren't all that weak. They were all at the demon warrior realm, and there were even existences at the demon general realm. Their combined attack caused quite a commotion. Balls of profound energy that were like clouds of fire were spat out from their mouths. They were like fireballs that exploded towards Yang Wu. Yang Wu's reaction was astonishing. He slapped out with both his hands, and the blue palm force was like a tidal wave that forcefully destroyed all these fire pearls. There was even some remaining force that blasted towards those tiger demons, sending them flying one after another. Yang Wu was in a killing frenzy. He charged left and right, and the attacks of those tiger demons were basically unable to cause him any harm. Instead, they became dead souls in his palms. "The human is too strong. Let's retreat." That fire cloud tiger king had long since awakened its intelligence. It gave an order to the tiger demons that hadn't been killed yet. Even their king felt that there was no way they could contend against the human, so they naturally wouldn't put up a dying struggle. They hurriedly fled as a group. Yang Wu didn't chase after them. Instead, he locked onto that fire cloud Tiger King and hurriedly ran towards it. He shouted, "My mount, don't even think about escaping." "Human, who is your mount?" The fire cloud Tiger King wasn't afraid. It charged towards Yang Wu and shouted, "It's you." Yang Wu's eyes lit up. His hands formed claws as he grabbed at the fire cloud Tiger King. The fire cloud Tiger King's front claws also swiped over. Several cracks appeared in the air. Those sharp tiger claws were suffused with fire-profound energy, and their destructive power was very strong. Yang Wu didn't care at all. He continued to grab at the sharp tiger claws. The force of his palm and claws intertwined. It was only then that Yang Wu realized that this fire cloud Tiger King really wasn't weak. It was shockingly at the level of a top-notch demonic general. This aroused Yang Wu's desire to conquer it. "Get down!" Just as Yang Wu's strength was in a deadlock with the fire cloud Tiger King, he suddenly exploded with an even stronger strength and forcefully smashed the powerful fire cloud Tiger King onto the ground. Bang! The fire cloud Tiger King's body was incomparably sturdy. When it smashed onto the ground, it kicked up a thick cloud of dust. Yang Wu flipped over and was about to sit on the fire cloud Tiger King's body. His strong and powerful arms pressed down on the fire cloud Tiger King's body, wanting to pin it down. However, how could this fire cloud Tiger King be willing to be captured just like that? It let out a loud and heavy roar, causing Yang Wu's eardrums to hurt incessantly. It also took advantage of this instant to spring up, tiger leaping through the forest. The fire cloud Tiger King released a strong fire-profound chi and quickly bound Yang Wu. It wanted to tear Yang Wu apart and burn him alive. Even a top-notch general tier cultivator might not be able to break free from this kind of power. Even Yang Wu was somewhat caught off guard. However, everything was still within his tolerance range. After going through extreme tempering twice, the strength of his skin and flesh was extremely tough. Moreover, in these past 3 days, his strength had been increasing. Even if he encountered an opponent like Tuoba Nasuo again, he could easily kill him without activating the Tao of Death. After Yang Wu withstood the power of the Fire Cloud Tiger King, a profound armor immediately appeared on his body, protecting him tightly. At the same time, he blasted out an uppercut, which contained the power of the 1-inch punch, and forced the Fire Cloud Tiger King to retreat. He waited for the Fire Cloud Tiger King to react, and had already closed in on it. Both of his palms fiercely struck out at the tiger's body. Mountain-shattering palm. This powerful palm force shattered the demonic armor of the Fire Cloud Tiger King, and directly seeped into its skin and flesh. 2 bloody palms appeared on its body, and even demonic blood flowed out. However, the Fire Cloud Tiger King's body was very tough, and it did not look like it had been severely injured. It spat out 2 mouthfuls of demonic flames at Yang Wu, which burned Yang Wu. This was true firepower, and not as simple as profound chi. However, Yang Wu was so frightened that he hurriedly dodged. His hair was still burned to the point that it curled up a little, and the weeds on the ground were burned to ashes. This guy has actually condensed true demonic flames. All the more I must capture you. Yang Wu shouted excitedly, and with nimble steps, he once again closed in on the Fire Cloud Tiger King. The Fire Cloud Tiger King was unable to burn Yang Wu to death, and realized that it was no match for its opponent, so it turned around and fled. Its speed was so fast that it left one speechless. "Little darling, don't run. You are this Viscount's mount." The acupoints under Yang Wu's legs were all activated, and as if he had the help of the gods, he chased after the Fire Cloud Tiger in a frenzy. His speed was even faster than the Fire Cloud Tiger's. Wind God's legs. This was the potential innate skill that Yang Wu had awakened. Only now could he use it in battle, allowing him to gallop like the wind, greatly increasing his speed. Very quickly, Yang Wu caught up to the Fire Cloud Tiger King and jumped onto its body. He forcefully pressed it onto the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Chapter 126. The Fire Cloud Tiger couldn't escape Yang Wu's powerful suppression at all. No matter how it struggled, Yang Wu's strength was like a mountain pressing down on it, making it unable to get up. Obediently submit to this Viscount, Yang Wu said to the Fire Cloud Tiger. Don't even think about it, the Fire Cloud Tiger replied unyieldingly. You really won't submit? Yang Wu asked. I won't submit, even if I die. All right, you said it yourself. Eat my fist first. Roar. Why are you plucking my fur? Aren't you going to eat my fist? Wait until I pluck out all the fur on your body before I hit you, so it won't prick my hand. Roar, roar. Stop it, quickly stop it. If you have the ability, kill me with one punch. The pitiful Fire Cloud Tiger was being pressed down by Yang Wu as he kept plucking its fur. It was in so much pain that it kept screaming and roaring, but it was to no avail. Many parts of its body were plucked out. If you still don't submit, you'll become a hairless tiger. When that time comes, I'll let you go. I believe that when you return to your clan, even more tigresses will praise this Viscount's skill in plucking fur, Yang Wu said proudly. The Fire Cloud Tiger was about to cry. It was a dignified, top-notch demon general, the leader of the tiger demons here, and it actually ended up in such a tragic state. Just thinking about it made it feel sad. When Yang Wu had plucked out most of its fur, it finally couldn't help but cry and roar, Stop plucking, I submit. The most beautiful part of the Fire Cloud Tiger was its fur. It really couldn't stand its own bald appearance. Even though it was almost like that now, at least the fur on its head was still there. If even the fur on its head was plucked out, it would really be better off dead. That's a good boy, Yang Wu said as he loosened his strength and stroked the Fire Cloud Tiger. The moment Yang Wu let go, the Fire Cloud Tiger bounced up again, trying to break free from Yang Wu's restraint. Yang Wu only wanted to test the Fire Cloud Tiger. He reacted immediately and pressed down with his palm, knocking the Fire Cloud Tiger down again with a powerful force. Naughty! After Yang Wu said this, he stopped playing around and threw a few punches at the Fire Cloud Tiger. Bang bang! Every punch caused the Fire Cloud Tiger to see stars. It was completely dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, Yang Wu had said that they weren't going to fight. Why did he suddenly start fighting without any warning? The Fire Cloud Tiger cried out again and again. It had no choice but to beg for mercy again. Let me go. I'm willing to submit and stop running away. Yang Wu said fiercely, If you run again, I'll roast you and eat you, you despicable wretch. Then, Yang Wu released the Fire Cloud Tiger. He wasn't worried that it would run away again. The Fire Cloud Tiger obediently obeyed, not daring to have the slightest thought of resisting. This human was too cruel. Then, Yang Wu even roasted and ate a Fire Cloud Tiger in front of the Fire Cloud Tiger. He even threw a large piece of meat to the Fire Cloud Tiger, causing it to cry out in grievance. Although the Fire Cloud Tiger was cruel, it wouldn't eat its own kind. After seeing the Fire Cloud Tiger obediently tamed, Yang Wu said with satisfaction, Wouldn't it have been fine if you had been obedient from the start? Why did you have to suffer to be obedient? You're a despicable wretch. I'll call you a despicable wretch in the future. Do you hear me? The Fire Cloud Tiger didn't nod or reply. It only lowered its head and whimpered to express its opposition. However, what awaited it was Yang Wu's fist that sent it flying. Even though its skin was thick and its flesh was thick, it still felt unspeakably miserable. A single slip is eternal regret. The Fire Cloud Tiger cried in its heart. This time, Yang Wu had the Fire Cloud Tiger as a mount, so everything was much easier. He placed the skinny monkey on the Fire Cloud Tiger's back and let it carry the skinny monkey forward. He could finally relax and cultivate his battle skills as he hurried along. Now, Yang Wu's battle skills had basically all reached the stage of great success. Only the chaotic horse galloping blade had just reached the proficient stage. If he wanted to enter the stage of great success, he still needed to fight some battles. These gains were all very valuable to Yang Wu. However, the most valuable thing was that Yang Wu had completely changed from a noble young master to a strong-willed and indomitable young expert. Now, he was 17 years old. In the dense forest, there were countless wild beasts, spirit demons, and poisonous insects. Every step was filled with danger. Yang Wu didn't think that he could do as he pleased here with his little strength. When he approached the swamp, many powerful poisonous insects appeared. Those endless attacks were definitely not something that ordinary people could withstand. Yang Wu's divine court's spiritual power was very strong. That was why he was able to guard against the unexpected attacks time and time again. In fact, he was able to kill them one step ahead. Yang Wu's potential innate talent didn't only awaken the wind god's legs. It also awakened his soul power and spiritual power. In this tense and dangerous environment, his soul power and spiritual power were tempered. Every time he was attacked, his spiritual power would allow him to react immediately. This ability was enough to determine the outcome of a battle. Of course, this type of soul power talent wasn't that simple. It could also strengthen Yang Wu's ability to comprehend combat skills. Using his spiritual power to visualize combat skills wasn't any worse than personally tempering a combat skill. Because of this, Yang Wu's comprehension of battle skills was becoming more and more powerful. It wouldn't be long before his battle skills entered the perfect stage. After Yang Wu stomped a poisonous spider to death, he asked Little Hay, "Little Hay, we should be reaching the swamp soon. Can you sense the location of the soul contact vine?" This place was already filled with poisonous miasma. Those who didn't have a poison repellent pill would only die if they tried to approach this place. Yang Wu had an undying body. Normal poisonous miasma couldn't harm him. Furthermore, as a precaution, Little Hay had already refined a few poison repellent pills. She gave one to Yang Wu before she dared to venture deeper into this area. It's possible for the soul contact vine to grow in this area. The other party didn't lie to you. However, it's hard to say if there are any king-tier soul contact vines here, Little Hay replied. Then let's continue, Yang Wu said without thinking. No, the poisonous miasma here is too thick. I won't be able to withstand it, Fire Cloud Tiger said cautiously. Yang Wu turned around and knocked Fire Cloud Tiger's head heavily. Cheap bone, with us here, you won't die. Fire Cloud Tiger was very sad. It hadn't had a good time following Yang Kai for the past few days. As soon as it opened its mouth, it would be beaten. It simply didn't have any status or authority. After Yang Wu ventured a few kilometers deeper, he discovered that the number of poisonous creatures here was really increasing. It was simply impossible to kill them all. If it weren't for the profound armor and golden silk armor on his body, he really wouldn't have been able to withstand the attacks of so many poisonous insects. Yang Wu entered a state of full battle mode. He released his death aura, and any creature that approached him would be inexplicably affected, no matter how powerful these poisonous insects were. Yang Wu wielded his iron saber and slaughtered his way through, leaving behind a pile of poisonous insect corpses. Some of these corpses were still useful, so they were quickly cleaned up by Little Hay. According to Little Hay, these things were poisonous to others, but to her, they were materials for alchemy, so she could use them. Soon, Yang Wu's group finally arrived in front of a dark swamp. There were ghost form trees growing here. These ghost form trees had very strange shapes, and under the dim light, they looked like ghosts. It was very frightening. The ground was covered in a layer of black swamp, and poisonous insects were constantly crawling about. There were even skeletons floating above the swamp. There were both human bones and monster bones. They had fallen into the swamp and hadn't completely decomposed. Obviously, they hadn't died long ago. When the cold wind blew, the ghost form trees here would let out a hoo-hoo sound, which was very frightening. Yang Wu looked at the environment here and felt a chill in his heart. He asked Little Hay, "Little Hay, is there a soul touch vine here?" "Yes, it has already appeared. You have to guard your mind. The soul touch vine can harm your mind," Little Hay reminded him. Just as Little Hay's voice fell, Yang Wu felt as if his mind was being pierced by something, and an illusion appeared in front of him. Father, mother. Yang Wu actually saw his parents. They were an elegant and handsome middle-aged man and an attractive woman. They were being escorted by a group of soldiers to the execution ground. Yang Wu naturally couldn't watch his parents die. He raised his iron saber and rushed over, shouting, "Let my parents go." Yang Wu's father turned around and said, "Wu-er, don't come over. Go back quickly. Father and mother will suffer for you. Go as far as you can." My wooer, go quickly. They will kill you. Yang Wu's mother said with tears in her eyes. Yang Wu, you dare to rape the princess. You deserve to die 10,000 times. Come over quickly and capture them. A commander shouted. Following that, the soldiers from all directions quickly brought Yang Wu's parents to the execution ground. Some of them rushed towards Yang Wu to capture him. Those who block me will die. Yang Wu roared and charged towards the soldiers. Little Hay rode on the fire cloud tiger's head and looked coldly at Yang Wu running towards the swamp. She murmured, if he can't even break through a small illusion, then all my training will be in vain. There was no one in front of Yang Wu. All of this was an illusion created by the soul touch vine. If Yang Wu couldn't break free from the illusion and entered the swamp, he would be unable to free himself and would die. Little Hay had already warned Yang Wu, but she didn't help him. She hoped that Yang Wu could save himself. In fact, Yang Wu was not able to get rid of the damage caused by the illusion. He was very loyal to his parents, and he really could not bear to see them get hurt. He held his iron saber and madly slashed out. Waves of tyrannical saber light swept out in all directions. One after another, demon-shaped trees were cut down, and terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. Some of the poisonous insects were innocently killed by the shock waves. Yang Wu walked towards the swamp step by step. In his eyes, there was no swamp. There were only his parents and the soldiers. The god's court flower bud in Yang Wu's mind swayed. It automatically took on a defensive role and began to break the illusions. However, Yang Wu had already stepped into the swamp. The muddy swamp had a strong suction force, and it wrapped around him and dragged him down. At that moment, Yang Wu came back to his senses. He realized that he had fallen into the swamp. He wanted to jump up, but he couldn't. He couldn't help but cry out, "Oh no!" Chapter 127. The swamp was extremely dangerous. Once one entered the swamp, there was an 80 to 90% chance of escaping. After Yang Wu fell into the swamp, he felt as if his feet were stuck to the sticky mud. The more he struggled, the faster his body sank. Once his body was completely bound and submerged in the swamp, he would be bitten by the poisonous insects or suffocated. In the end, he would die here. Little Hay, why aren't you helping me? I can't get up. Yang Wu subconsciously asked Little Hay for help. If you can't even overcome this little difficulty, you can die here, Little Hay said plainly. Then she said to the fire cloud tiger, let's go. Let him fend for himself. Roar. The fire cloud tiger had long wanted to leave this place. When it heard Little Hay's words, it roared excitedly and left with Little Hay and the skinny monkey. Hey, cheap bones, whose mount are you? If you dare to run, you're dead. Yang Wu shouted. Unfortunately, the fire cloud tiger was even more afraid of Little Hay. After interacting with Little Hay for a few days, it could feel the unique demonic aura coming from Little Hay's body. It couldn't even think of resisting. Little Hay and the fire cloud tiger had completely left. Yang Wu's lower body had already sunk into the swamp. If he couldn't think of a way to escape, he might really die here. At this crucial moment, he could still feel the power of the god's court attacking him. It wanted to create another illusion for him. Little Hay said that the soul touch vine can create soul power interference and attacks. It seems like it's true. I have to protect my god's court. I can't be disturbed by it. Yang Wu forced himself to calm down. Yang Wu sensed the god's court flower bud in his mind. It was much stronger than before, and it exuded an invisible power that blocked the invading power. First of all, Yang Wu had to find the power to attack. Only then could he make the best defense. He ignored his sinking body and focused on sensing the invading power. Very soon, he discovered that the strands of invisible power had come from the east. When the power approached his divine court, he could sense it through the flower of the divine court. Get lost! Yang Wu tried to use his divine court's mental strength to forcefully push out the interference. Sure enough, his mental strength of the divine court was still more powerful than those interfering powers. Under his powerful rebound, those powers no longer posed any harm to him. However, they continued to attack him, not giving him any chance to relax at all. It was these powers that created illusions for him, making it difficult for him to extricate himself. If he couldn't eliminate the source of these powers, he still wouldn't be able to concentrate on leaving the swamp. Now, his body was sinking again. He was up to his chest. If this continued, his entire body would sink into the swamp. The situation was very dangerous. The more it was like this, the calmer Yang Wu became. He thought to himself, if these powers can interfere with me, I can do the same. Thinking of this, Yang Wu tried to use the power of the flower of the divine court. This was the essence of his mental strength. He wanted to see if he could use this power to counterattack. When he used the flower of the divine court again, he felt the strength of his mental strength. He didn't think too much about it. He used the power here to counterattack the source of the interference power. Compared to these two powers, his mental strength was stronger. The interference power was rebounded by him, and it went in the direction of the retreating power. It wasn't far from where he was. It was near one of the ghost trees. Yang Wu used his mental strength to attack it. Pang! There was an invisible clash between the two powers. Yang Wu's power still had the upper hand, and he completely suppressed the source of the spiritual power. After Yang Wu made this counterattack, the mental energy he released could no longer withstand it and completely collapsed, causing his mental energy to become slightly unstable. He could feel that this was the after effect of using his mental strength. Fortunately, it wasn't very serious. If he used all of his mental strength, he would have fainted on the spot. This was also because he had yet to properly utilize his innate soul power. If he had done so, such a thing wouldn't have happened. After shaking off the interference, Yang Wu could finally calm down and save himself. At this moment, his body had sunk up to his neck. His body was very uncomfortable from being restrained. There were also poisonous insects approaching him. These poisonous insects looked very ferocious. They spat out poisonous gas, and their fangs were very bloodthirsty. If he was corroded by their poisonous gas or bitten by their fangs, he would die. Yang Wu didn't dare to struggle. He found that the more he struggled, the easier it was to sink. On the contrary, if he didn't move his body, the sinking speed would be much slower. The swamp is very humid, and there's plenty of water. I can try using the dragon turtle water suppressing stance. Yang Wu thought anxiously. Following that, he used the dragon turtle water suppressing stance, and then used the 9 profound arts to support it. This allowed his body to absorb more energy, and his feet were instantly filled with water vapor. Yang Wu had the mysterious water pearl, and he had refined the essence blood of the demon turtle. This made him very sensitive to water. In the blink of an eye, he was able to borrow the buoyancy of the water to quickly float up. The swamp mud that stuck to his body was all pushed to the side by the mysterious armor that he released. The poisonous insects were all ferocious creatures. When they saw Yang Wu continuously rising up, they also increased their speed and rushed towards Yang Wu. Poisonous gas sprayed out first, and the thick stench made people feel disgusted and unbearable. Yang Wu had already taken a poison-repelling pill earlier, so he could still resist this kind of poisonous gas. The primordial profound essence qi that was produced in his body contained the special power of the peach pit, so it could also resist the poisonous gas. This allowed him to preserve his life in this situation. If it were anyone else, they would have been tormented to death by the poisonous gas. Yang Wu used the dragon turtle water suppressing stance to increase his speed and escape. He shouted, "Get out of my way!" Yang Wu's figure bounced up, and his body released a domineering power. Profound qi erupted between his palms, killing the poisonous insects on the spot. Bang bang! Yang Wu's power slapped the nearby area into 2 deep pits. Swamp mud splashed everywhere, and the poisonous insects that were still rushing overfled in all directions. "I finally escaped," Yang Wu said with great emotion. He really did not expect that he would inexplicably fall into an illusion. Little Hay did not even care about him. Fortunately, he was calm enough. Otherwise, he would have been in big trouble. Yang Wu did not have time to lament. He looked at a ghost tree not far away, and then he took a step towards it. Now, the swamp here was no longer of any use to him. He could float on the surface of the swamp, and every step he took would leave a puddle of water behind. This was because the dragon turtle water-suppressing stance had reached the minute subtlety stage. In addition, he also had the wind god's leg, which allowed him to walk on the swamp as if it was flat ground. After a few steps, Yangwu arrived in front of the ghost-shaped tree. He saw a soul touch vine growing behind the ghost-shaped tree. It was much bigger and longer than the one he obtained from the barbarian tribe. It seemed to be quite old, and its body was exuding a gentle glow. Yang Wu's eyes lit up. Little Hay said that all spirit medicines have spirit energy. This soul touch vine in front of me is very shiny. It seems to be a soul touch vine that has reached the level of a spirit medicine. Yang Wu reached out his hand to grab the soul touch vine. Suddenly, the ghost-shaped tree sent a branch at him. This attack caught him off guard. Yang Wu did not expect the ghost-shaped tree to be able to attack, and he was hit by the branch. Fortunately, the power of the branch was not very strong, and it did not cause too much damage to him. He pulled out his iron knife and slashed at the ghost tree. Yang Wu thought that this slash would be enough to end the ghost tree. However, the ghost tree moved away, and his slash missed. Yang Wu cried out involuntarily. This tree has become a spirit. It knows how to dodge. Swoosh! The ghost tree did not run away. It sent many branches at Yang Wu. These attacks were not weak, and were even stronger than before. They were enough to deal with an ordinary warrior. This time, Yang Wu was prepared. The iron knife in his hand slashed out, and the branches that were coming at him were chopped off, causing many of them to fall to the ground. When the branches were chopped off, black liquid gushed out from the branches. The ghost tree quickly retreated. It realized how powerful Yang Wu was and did not dare to attack Yang Wu again. However, Yang Wu would not let it go. A powerful Xian Qi burst out from his iron knife, tearing the air and directly cutting the ghost tree in half. A large amount of sap seeped out, and the tree died instantly. The soul feeler plant was exposed. It quickly shrank, trying to escape from this place. Where do you think you're going? Yang Wu would not give it a chance to escape. He quickly swept over, grabbed it, and tore it up, uprooting it. It was also at this moment that the soul touch vine released a powerful soul power to attack Yang Wu's divine court flower. This was the soul touch vine's dying counterattack. Fortunately, Yang Wu had been prepared, so he did not fall into its trap. However, he still felt the divine court flower bud being attacked, and he almost fainted. I did not expect the soul touch vine to be so difficult to harvest. Yang Wu thought to himself. He put away the soul touch vine, but did not leave. He needed to find a king-level soul touch vine, and this spirit-level soul touch vine was not enough. Yang Wu pondered for a moment, then went deeper into the swamp. He felt a powerful soul power fluctuation in the depths. This was the divine court flower bud's feeling, and it could not be wrong. When he went deeper into the swamp, he heard someone crying out, "Help! I don't want to die here." Chapter 128. In such a dense swamp with ghost trees, Yang Wu's divine sense couldn't penetrate through. He couldn't sense things too far away, only within a radius of 1 or 2 miles. Coincidentally, he was close to the cry for help, and it was a woman's voice. He instinctively searched for the source of the voice, and quickly locked onto a direction in front of him. There were many ghost trees blocking his line of sight, and he couldn't see anyone. She should be behind those ghost trees. Should I go take a look? Yang Wu asked in his mind. In this dangerous swamp, he had to be careful. Perhaps this cry for help was a trap set by some evil creature. Yang Wu hesitated for a moment, but he still headed in that direction. He faintly felt that the soul-touching vine king he was looking for was also there. Now, he activated the flower buds in his god's court to keep his mind clear and not be attacked by anything. Then, he carefully walked in the direction of the sound. Not long after, he passed through the ghost trees and saw a young girl surrounded by 6 swamp spy crocodiles. There were several pools of blood on the swamp, as well as some broken limbs. It was obvious that many people had been bitten to death by the swamp spy crocodiles. Some of the swamp spy crocodiles had also been killed. However, the young girl who was crying for help was still unharmed. She wore a pair of blue crystal boots that emitted strands of blue Xian Qi, allowing her to walk on the swamp without sinking into it. She held a blue, long sword in her hand, constantly waving it. The sword energy she emitted was not weak, but her sword skills were too messy. She was unable to pose any threat to the swamp spike crocodiles. Don't come over. Don't come over. Save me. This young girl clearly lacked battle experience. She was simply waving her sword randomly. Moreover, she was terrified of the swamp spike crocodiles and had lost her cool. The swamp spike crocodiles were spirit demons that lived in this swamp. They had long mouths, green thorns on their bodies, and arrow-shaped tails. They were about 6 meters long and looked extremely ferocious and bloodthirsty. Yang Wu hesitated for a moment, then quickly rushed over. Before he arrived, his iron blade had already fiercely slashed out. A tyrannical Xian Qi swept out, causing the swamp spike crocodiles to feel threatened. They all turned around, but it was already too late. 2 of the swamp spike crocodiles had already fallen into the swamp within Yang Wu's attack range. At this moment, the other swamp spike crocodiles' fierce eyes locked onto Yang Wu. They quickly rushed over at an astonishing speed, and it was obvious that they had reached the level of a demon general. Now, as long as Yang Wu didn't meet a King Realm expert, he wasn't afraid at all. He went up and slashed a few times. Each slash contained 150 feet of Xian Qi. The demonic armor released by the swamp spike crocodile was shattered, and its body was left with terrifying slash marks. Blood gushed out. It actually didn't die, Yang Wu said in astonishment. His attack was enough to kill a high-level demon general, but the swamp spike crocodiles were only injured. They didn't die as he thought. One of the swamp spike crocodiles ignored its injuries and pounced in front of Yang Wu. Yang Wu didn't even think about it. He raised his foot and ruthlessly stomped the ferocious-looking swamp spike crocodiles into the swamp. At the same time, 2 streaks of venom shot towards Yang Wu from the left and right. The venom was like a sharp arrow that wanted to pierce through the profound armor on Yang Wu's body and seep into his body. Needless to say, the venom was very tyrannical. After it came into contact with Yang Wu's profound armor, it corroded and melted. Yang Wu was shocked. This poison is so tyrannical. Yang Wu didn't dare to be careless. He released a powerful force from his body and scattered the venom. At the same time, he slashed left and right with the iron blade in his hand. 3 streaks of blade light that were even stronger than the previous one cut the swamp spike crocodiles in 2. He easily took care of the swamp spike crocodiles. The miserable young girl looked at the powerful Yang Wu, and her beautiful eyes lit up with hope. She cheered, "So powerful! Come and save me." This young lady's looks were above average, but even the soft armor she was wearing couldn't cover her pair of heavy weapons. Not to mention, her petite body only accentuated the domineering aura of her upper body. It was unknown if she would have the impulse to lean forward when she walked. Yang Wu glanced at the young girl. His gaze was directly attracted by the heavy position in front of her chest. He couldn't help but swallow his saliva. So big. It was obvious that this wasn't the first time the young girl encountered such a situation. She hugged her chest and said softly, "Come and save me, okay?" Yang Wu came back to his senses and said, "Didn't we already beat them back? You're free to leave this place." "No, they will come again. There will be a lot of them." The young girl revealed a timid expression. Sure enough, when her words fell, Yang Wu felt a strange movement under his feet. He didn't even think about it and jumped forward. When he left his original position, a swamp spike crocodile rushed up from his previous position. It opened its big mouth and bit down on empty air. Its action was very frightening. If Yang Wu wasn't fast enough, he would have been bitten. Yang Wu's gaze sank. Without waiting for the swamp spike crocodile to retreat into the swamp, the iron saber in his hand slashed horizontally. The sharp saber light cut the swamp spike crocodile into 2 halves. It was also at this time that the young girl screamed again, "Help, help, there are so many bad guys." Sure enough, a dozen swamp spike crocodiles appeared above the swamp. They all looked at Yang Wu and the young girl with ominous glints in their eyes and quickly attacked. The momentum of their charge caused waves on the surface of the swamp. A lot of swamp mud was splashed in all directions. The first swamp spike crocodile pounced in front of Yang Wu. Its incomparably sharp teeth wanted to bite Yang Wu into two halves. Even a martial artist in the general realm would be frightened by such an imposing manner. Yang Wu didn't have the slightest fear. He withdrew his fist. When he punched out again, a tyrannical internal force rushed out and hit the swamp spike crocodile's mouth. The swamp spike crocodile's mouth was smashed, and its 2-meter-long body was sent flying. It seems that I got into trouble. Yang Wu sighed softly and swept towards the young girl. His wind god's legs displayed an incomparable advantage. He shuttled through these swamp spike crocodiles and appeared in front of the young girl in a few blinks of an eye. The young girl was about to fall because of a swamp spike crocodile. Once she fell, the pair of blue crystal boots wouldn't allow her to float on the surface of the swamp. At that time, she would be completely finished. Yang Wu quickly grabbed the young girl's hand and pulled her into his arms. Her chest squeezed into Yang Wu's arms. That soft and heavy position made Yang Wu's heart flutter. He exclaimed in his heart, "This is an evil spirit." The swamp spike crocodiles appeared again, and 3 of them attacked them at the same time. Some spat out poisonous fog, some swung their tails and turned them into arrows to attack, and some opened their teeth to bite. All of them wanted to dismember the 2 of them on the spot. Yang Wu's reaction was incomparably fast. He held the young girl in one hand and waved his iron saber with the other. The power of the galloping horse saber was completely unleashed by him. Every saber contained tyrannical internal force. It tore through the surroundings and sent the attacking swamp spike crocodiles flying. Blood splattered everywhere. "Come on, today I will advance my saber technique to the advanced stage," Yang Wu shouted with incomparable excitement. The galloping horse saber technique was a saber technique that could unleash even more power in a chaotic battle. Yang Wu threw away all thoughts of escape and drew on the divine court's spiritual power to make himself more focused. Every saber slash was smooth, as if he had reproduced the human movements on the battle skill tablet. His movements were no longer sluggish and became more skillful and perfect. One saber slash after another, continuous and astonishing saber momentum. Although these swamp spike crocodiles were ferocious and had astonishing defensive power, they had no way of resisting Yang Wu's tyrannical saber. The swamp spike crocodiles that pounced forward and behind were continuously killed by Yang Wu. After a while, many swamp spike crocodiles' limbs appeared on the surface of the swamp, but they quickly sank back into the swamp. This made things worse. More swamp spike crocodiles lurking in the swamp were alerted. They kept gathering from all directions. In a few blinks of an eye, dozens of swamp spike crocodiles appeared. Among them, there were a few that were as long as 3 feet. They were definitely top-level demon generals. The girl in Yang Wu's arms screamed, "Handsome, quickly take me away. There are more and more of them. We can't beat them." "Shut up," Yang Wu reprimanded. Now, he was fully focused on fighting the enemy. Moreover, he was carrying a person in his arms. He could not afford to be distracted at this moment. Yang Wu's meridians and acupoints were flowing. This suppressed power erupted at the same time. In an instant, dozens of hidden acupoints were opened at this moment. The acupoints in his body had reached a total of 573. He had opened 6 extraordinary meridians in his body. He only needed 2 more to open all the acupoints in his body. Because of this, his speed of opening acupoints was much faster than before. Of course, this had a lot to do with Little Hay's extreme body tempering technique. When the girl heard the sound of a bell reverberating in Yang Wu's body, her beautiful eyes flashed with a look of infatuation. She thought to herself, "He's really powerful. He can actually increase his strength in the middle of a battle." "Come." Yang Wu's aura reached an extremely shocking level. The blood in his body surged. Then, he threw the girl into the air, causing her to scream in fear. In the next moment, Yang Wu began to move. The acupoints on his legs flickered, and those small acupoints that had been opened displayed an unexpected power. His speed was astonishingly fast. He charged through these marsh thorn eels that were attacking him, and his sharp eyes could clearly see the direction of their attacks. The iron blade in his hand followed an indescribable trajectory as it repeatedly slashed out. 9 slashes, 18 slashes, 36 slashes. The 20-foot-long Shin-Chi saber light drew blood. Each slash was fatal. The frenzied horse-galloping saber technique had reached the stage of great accomplishment. Hiss hiss. Many swamp spike crocodiles let out miserable shrieks. The scene was devastated. Yang Wu, on the other hand, returned to his original position and caught the young girl who had just fallen into his arms. His graceful bearing was so charming.